woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Capuchin Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. It's the I Love Lee Show, starring Lee, with special guest Jim.
Come on, dude, pick up.
Jim's Bait Shop.
Very boomer funny of you.
Yeah, I thought so too. What's up?
What was the name of the live talk radio thingy? You know, that show with the holy guy you were telling me about?
Talk radio, holy guy. I'm sure I have no idea.
Yeah, the guy's name rhymed with Lurch. He was talking about being holy or something.
Talking about... Oh, you mean Mike Church. He's not trying to be holy.
Yeah, he's also not trying to fake being holy. Anyway, I just came from the Lila Rose 2-for-1 podcast promotion, and I didn't make a dent in one, much less get two, and I need something cool to listen to on the 6-hour drive I have coming up.
Well, the KingDude's got you covered there.
So, you got the deets?
No, but my dad had shingles.
Ugh, you're such a boomer! Deets, as in details, as in where and when do I find this guy?
I'm not a boomer, and his podcast is hiding in plain sight at this thing called a website at crusadechannel.com.
Why can't he just have a QR code?
Yeah. Want me to come over there and type that in for you, Zoomer?
The Crusade Channel 4.0, one of life's simple pleasures.
Yeah, like hearing a tree beginning its journey to the paper mill.
Like paper over plastic, some things like the Crusade Channel.
And good old-fashioned live talk radio.
Never go out of style at crusadechannel.com.
Speaking of out of style, Jim, we need to talk about your hair.
What's the matter with my hair?
The 80s hair metal band's called, and they want their style back.
Really?
Our saint of the day is St. Charles Borromeo. The name of Charles Borromeo is associated with reform. He lived during the time of the Protestant Reformation and had a hand in the reform of the whole church during the final years of the Council of Trent. Although he belonged to the Milanese nobility and was related to the powerful Medici family, Charles desired to devote himself to the church. In 559, when his uncle Cardinal de' Medici was elected Pope Pius IV, he made Charles cardinal deacon and administrator of the Archdiocese of Milan. At the time, Charles was still a layman and a young student. Because of his intellectual qualities, Charles was entrusted with several important offices connected with the Vatican and later appointed Secretary of State. Soon after being ordained a priest at the age of 25, Borromeo was consecrated Bishop of Milan. Working behind the scenes, St. Charles deserves the credit for keeping the Council of Trent in session when at several points it was on the verge of breaking up. Borromeo encouraged the Pope to renew the council in 1562 after it had been suspended for 10 years. Eventually, Borromeo was allowed to devote his time to the Archdiocese of Milan. He allotted most of his income to charity, forbade himself all luxury, and imposed severe penances upon himself. He sacrificed wealth, high honors, esteem, and influence to become poor. During the plague and famine of 1576, Borromeo tried to feed 60,000 to 70,000 people daily. Work and the heavy burdens of his high office began to affect his health, leading to his death at the age of 46. An archaeological excavation in Turkey recently yielded a Roman hospital turned Christian sanctuary, offering new insight into centuries of ancient history. The ruins were found in the ancient city of Konos, in the southwestern Turkey's Mughla province. They were inside a monastery area within the city's walls. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pen, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Well, we start the program off today with the announcement of a death. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has died at the age of 84. Eternal rest grant unto him, O God, the perpetual light shine upon him. May he rest in peace, amen. Mike Church Show here on the Crusade Channel, live talk radio the way it ought to be. Asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you, it's election day.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire. For a safe and secure society.
So I'm calling on Congress to pass these reforms, and I'm going to sign them into law. You call down the thunder, well now you got it. You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
All right, our call-in line telephone number, if you'd like to be on the program today, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever has been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. And Crusader Stadium chat rooms open at crusadechannel.com/chat. Will New Tenochtitlan City go full-on commie red today? Or will it live to... will the Big Apple go big red? Or will it live to fight another day and to repel the pinko commie evil that is Moron, the not magnificent commie Mondani? Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, I don't know if he was joking or not, but said that after the polls close tonight, anyone that tries to move from New York City, yep, get a rope, to Texas will pay a 100% tariff. I think Texas ought to go ahead and pass that statute. Imagine this. And here on the, what is today? Today's the, remember the 4th of November. Today's the 4th of November. Tomorrow's the 5th. Tomorrow's Guy Fawkes Day. Great day around this joint. On the 4th of November, 2025, the people of the city of New York are standing on the precipice of making history. They'll either make Zoran, Moron, the Muslim not magnificent Kami Mondani, whatever number mayor. Oh, wait, what mayor is it? I wonder now. You know, like Trump's POTUS 47, he was 45. I wonder, how many mayors has that city been through? It's probably a similar amount, I would imagine. Or will there be a runoff where it'll be Mondani versus Andrew Cuomo, and then the city gets another chance to fight for its life? You know, I used to say way back in the day when the World Wide Web was first getting popular and people were going, did you go to this website and see that story? Oh my Lord, they published it on this website, you can read it. It's the greatest thing ever written. And I would say, yes, I did go there. And then after I had done so a couple of dozen times, I started to warn people, if you want to save your sanity, for heaven's sake, if you go read articles online, whatever you do, it's like the movie Gremlins. Don't feed it after midnight. Don't do this. Don't do that. Whatever you do, do not read the comments. If you read the comments, #life ruined. There is no recovery from reading what other people think all the time. And there still is there's no cure. X.com is not a solution or a cure. It is a curse. And I don't know how it happened, but all these leftards started showing up on my X account. I had to physically go and filter them out so that I don't see the lunacy. But in any event, watching some of the day before voting or early voting interviews of people being asked questions after they come out of the voting booth, the most sacred, hallowed space in all of America, wherever there are voting booths, there is holiness, there is democracy. And reporter dude or reporter babes asking the questions. Well, what do you think about the confiscation tax of the billionaires? And the usual response is, well, I don't think these millionaires paying the taxes anyway. So, yeah, I think you ought to take all of their money and everyone else ought to be given a fair chance. So to give you a fair chance, you need a criminal like Mondani to steal or to take from someone who has and give it to you who hasn't earned it. It really is shocking. This is the oldest commie democrat ruse in the book. It literally is over 150 years old now. It hasn't worked in 150 years, and even if you tell the morons meandering about the streets of New York City, that's funny. If Mondani becomes the commie mayor, they will bring that television commercial back. You remember that was for, I think it was for Hormel chili, wasn't it? No, it was for paste pecani sauce. That's what it was. You have to have a real pecani sauce. This pecani sauce is made in New York City. New York City! I think that these self-respecting people of the South who are using pecani sauces can revive. Maybe we can make Mike Church's Cooking with the KingDude rubs. Our rubs are made in Louisiana, not like this one's made in New York City. New York City! Get a rope. Will New York become the brunt of all of those jokes? Moron, the commie Mondani, if you hear his, well, we have it, we'll play it for you. If you hear his last pitch on, we're going to Trump-proof New York City by raising $11 billion. Now, he makes it sound like he's going to have a Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethon. And that Ed McMahon's going to come out and dance across the stage, and then, George Clooney will show up or whoever, and they'll have the Paul Schaefer band or whatever, and they'll play for a day, and people will call in, oh, you would like to donate $10 to the state of New York City Fund? Okay, wait a minute. He makes it sound like he's going trick-or-treating. Like, well, no, what we're going to do is we're going to raise $10 to $11 billion to Trump-proof the city. I have a better idea. Why don't people just say no to you? Then you don't have to Trump-proof the city. And then maybe New Tenochtitlan City can, I don't know, somehow be revived. And I'm not saying that I believe that Cuomo is the reviver, because I don't think that he is, and I wouldn't say that. But I know that the solution isn't communism. I know the solution certainly isn't Mohammedism. This is what's really lurking behind this. It is the Mohammedan invasion which has gone on. Now, we can't say in the United States that they have that they've taken us over or invaded without firing a shot, because they have fired shots. They flew planes into buildings and have had other mass murder events. You know the track record. No sense repeating it here. They're practically in control of the state of Minnesota. Now they're working on New Tenochtitlan City. You can't build mosques fast enough now, apparently in the Big Apple. What an irony and a tragedy that is. At one point in time, And before these skyscraper revolutions that dot the landscape now of New York City, one of the tallest structures on the entire island of Manhattan when it was completed in the 1870s was St. Patrick's Cathedral on, 6th Avenue. And right up, that's near where Sirius XM is. It's not far. It's 40. I want to say it's 41st Street, 41st, 42nd, 43rd, somewhere up in there. It's either 6th or 7th Avenue. You could see the bell tower, the Twin Spire bell tower, or the Twin Spires, St. Patrick's Cathedral. You could see it from Hoboken. You could see it from across the river. And now today we're talking about they're talking about installing a Sharia law madman as basically the imam or the sultan of the island of New Tenochtitlan City. You know, Maggie, there was a soundbite you were playing about people fleeing New York. And what the lunatics and losers are that are going to cast their ballots from on down, what they thought about people fleeing. It almost sounded like they want to remake John Carpenter's Escape from New York City and put a moat up around the island and tell you can't leave. This is Hotel California, baby. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. So we have lots to talk about that, and we will do it. If you're listening on 990 AM WGSO, where you at, bruh? It finally happened. I can't play the digital media file because there's a curse word in it, but it's hysterical. A dude goes to a Rouse's supermarket yesterday, and he's standing there by the bakery, and there is a cooler wherein there are cakes, baked cakes. He pulls the smartphone on and he goes, "Hey, y'all, you know it's bad, bro. I just had to show y'all. This is awful. This is, you know it's bad." And he reaches into the cooler and he pulls out a paper bag-headed Saints fan cake. You hear Maggie chuckling in the background there. You had to put a picture of it because people like pictures. You got to put a picture of it up and show everyone. It is literally a cake that has the baghead dude on it. There it is, and you see
the ain'ts.
It's an ain'ts. It's an ain'ts cake. And look at that. It's so terrible. So, you know that your NFL franchise has sunk to new lows when the Aints paper bags are brought back. And for people that don't know, and still, because people used to laugh about that. It used to be a joke until Sean Payton came along. And the Saints became respectable for a little while. The whole thing was a gag that was started by one of my radio broadcasting heroes, Buddy Diliberto. Buddy Diliberto was the nightly sportscaster, the sports anchor dude. And I want to say it was WVUE Channel 8 in New Orleans. And after the Saints had lost like their 10th in a row or whatever it was, he began the sports recap. And, well, the Saints are one of the worst teams ever in the history of the NFL. It's so bad that Saints fans want anonymity. They don't want anyone to know that they're Saints fans. Well, in light of that, I thought I would finish the broadcast tonight. And then Buddy pulls a Schwagman grocery store. It was a big grocery store chain in New Orleans at the time. He pulls a brown paper Schwagman's bag, as you would have called it in New Orleans, a Schwagman's bag. He pulls a Schwagman's bag out from under the broadcast desk, and he has cut out holes where his eyes and his mouth are. And across the top, right above the eyes, it says, instead of Saints, Ain'ts. And they're fleur-de-lis on it. And he puts the bag on his head, and the bag heads are born. The next Saints home game, there are literally thousands of people carrying their own Ain'ts bags into the Superdome. It's so embarrassing. That's how the folklore, or that's how the lore got started. Well, it's back. The Saints are now the worst team maybe in the history of the NFL, Buddy D would say. The Saints under new head coach or new head slouch, Kellen Moore, are now 1-8. It's just an embarrassment. And now all people can do now that your season is over is just laugh about it. All there is to do is go to a Saints game in the Dome and party. I mean, literally. Most kickoffs are at noon. Go to Mass at St. Patrick's. You're out by 10:30. You're at the Bloody Mary bar quarter to 11. Life in New Orleans on a Sunday is good. Look, Saints throwback jersey in the chat room. Now, if you're a Saints player, this has to just be, I've never played, well, yes I have. I played for the Mike Churchill. I played on a perennial loser. Yes, I know what it's like to lose every day. It's my life. How do you show up as a player? I mean, you're a professional, so I guess, you kind of have to. But they're so bad. Your efforts, if you're good and you're putting 100% effort out, are just completely undone by fools like Alontae Taylor, for example, who got burned on consecutive plays Sunday in Los Angeles. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that Alontae Taylor had mortgaged one of his vacation homes and had FanDuel bet for the Rams 2 touchdowns, because he didn't lay a finger on either one. He didn't touch the tight end who ran right past him. He didn't touch the wide receiver who caught the ball right in front of him. It's that kind of play that just it's demoralizing. It's what makes people like me go, you know what? I'm not watching the rest of this. I'll watch something on Amazon. So are these put this year pictures?
Year.
Oh, the ones you're putting in the chat room are new.
The first one is the old one.
Okay, so the one at the top is Smith's drinks. That's an old coach. That's an old one. The one underneath Saints throwback jersey. That's a new one.
That's new.
And then the two underneath. Oh no, here we go again. Those are new.
And the clown.
And then the bottom with the, okay. Now, if you don't know, if you're not a Saints guy, you're not from New Orleans, or you don't watch the Saints games, that guy, the dude that says, put me in, coach, that guy is in his 80s. He is, I forget, they have a name, like Saints clown guy or whatever they call him. The TV guys on every network all know where he's a season ticket holder. He has been for 58 years. A dude dresses the same to every game. And so the TV cameramen all know where he sits. So he makes every game, Saints game you watch, that's a home game, that guy's on it. And for him to have put me in, coach. So it's bad, folks. It's bad. I want to talk about, and I'm going to talk more about this. I had the Nick Fuentes clip that I couldn't play yesterday because it wasn't bleeped out. Oh, I bleeped it out. I watched the whole thing and I bleeped it out. Anyone that thinks that is the future of Catholic broadcasting, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know that it's the future of anything, actually. And I saw the messages in the chat room yesterday. There was a couple of Fuentes fans there. Man, dude, if you want to be a Fuentes fan, you go right on ahead. I do not engage in edicts around here and imperative commands that you must or you must not do this. You have your own free will. If that's what you want to do, man, you go ahead and do it. But I will not participate in what I think is this has to be just a cruel, heartless, bad joke. So I listened to the cut tonight. There's 2 minutes and 40 some odd seconds, the one that we played yesterday with the F-bomb on it. So I believe there are 2 F-bombs in that, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. 3 S-bombs, 2 F-bombs. And I bleeped them all out. When I listened to the substance of what is contained in the clip, there is no substance. There's nothing there. Are we that desperate? I guess 34 years in, 10 years on the Crusade Channel, I am a complete and total demonstrable failure. Because I guess I have failed to put forth the shoe or the good foot forward enough to give it the old college try that, we tried, and we did, and we still try every day to be the Catholics that are broadcasters and voices of reason in times of insanity. Give me an X.
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Listen up, Red, White, and Dude Nation fans. Now, if you wear one new t-shirt this spring, then make sure you pour yourself into a new Mike Church Show neon microphone t-shirt. Printed on beautiful 100% soft cotton tees, the logo's so cool. It's even more cool than burning unburdened by what has been stickers. Available in sizes medium through Alvin Bragg sized 3X. Be the best dressed dude at your cigar shop or the coolest dressed gal at Junior's soccer match. Order today at shop.mikechurch.com. Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub. A rub has won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow closed down 0.48%. The S&P was up a little, 0.17%. NASDAQ was up 0.46%. In National Day calendar news, it was in the year 1845 that Election Day was moved to the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. It's also the day that a lighthouse was built in Alcatraz in 1854. In 1952, the National Security Agency, or NSA, was established. In 1980, Ronald Reagan became the 40th President of the United States. Today is National Chicken Lady Day, and it's National Candy Day. In the late 13th century, Middle English first began using the word candy. Originally a form of medicine, candy calmed the digestive system or cooled a sore throat. At that time, it was combined with spices and sugar, and candy only appeared in the purses and dishes of the wealthy. Our quote of the day: if you are what you should be, you will set the whole world ablaze. St. Catherine of Siena. Our saint of the day is St. Charles Borromeo. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Only the Crusade Channel brings you the Saint of the Day read by actual nuns.
Really? Our sisters are actual sisters?
Yes, and you can catch their heavenly voices announcing the Saint of the Day on the Crusade Channel.
Oh, you boomers and your live broadcasts. I'm a busy girl. Sure, I'm very important only in my own mind, but can I get them as podcasts?
I'm not a boomer. And yes, all Saint of the Day recordings are available as mini podcasts on our app and at CrusadeChannel.com.
I see saintly binge listening in my future. I feel holier already.
And it which shall live in infamy, November the 4th. Remember the 4th of November. Today, the moron, the not magnificent Kami Mandani, is elected mayor of New Tenochtitlan City. Actually toyed with the idea of doing election returns tonight, but it'd be a late night. and I don't have anything invested in Virginia, New Jersey, or New Tenochtitlan City other than any daughter that lives there, so let him have it.
Let it burn.
I'm with the the furniture store on St. Claude Avenue. Let him have it. If he wants it, let him have it. So we will talk. It'll be lots of stuff to talk about tomorrow, though. Oh, yes. It is said, ladies and gentlemen, that tomorrow, Nancy Pelosi is going to throw the wine box in.
Here's the story.
She is expected to announce that she is quitting the House of Representatives tomorrow. And we'll do a Queen of Pain update next hour on this weekend. Play the song. Now, here's a question. Weinbach's Nan is from the Pacific Heights area of San Francisco, the city by the gate. Do you know who else? No, I know he did. I don't know if he still does. Do you know who else is from the Pacific Heights district of San Francisco, city by the gay? Gavin Gruesome Newsom. Here's the thought. Will Weinbach's Nan's nephew step up to the plate and resign his commission as governor, chief executioner of California, and run for that congressional district seat of his auntie? Couldn't you do a lot of good in the House of Representatives? Just think, Gavi. You could actually go to Morador and pick a fight with Trump.
That might be why he's all over that news.
You could walk down the streets and go pick a fight with Donnie. By the by, I would expect that Trump would bring Dana White and Mr. T, and you would bring your little posse of California homo wannabes, and I'm pretty sure that Trump that Trump would be the odds-on winner in that fight. But that thought occurs to me. I don't think it's that far-fetched. When is Newsom's term up? I think he's in the last year. By the by, have you seen the redistricting plan that they want to implement in California? Basically, California will not allow any Republican districts. There'll be 2. 2026. So it works out. He finishes his term of governor, and bam, it goes to the House of Representatives. Throws a special election to the people. Ooh, Kamala Kakala Harris for governor. Why not? The state of California is the most picturesque and beautiful state in the union if you've ever been to it. You have the beaches, Santa Monica and La Jolla, and all of the Mission Beach further down in San Diego. You have all the beautiful beaches. You know, you go up the coast, and you have the beautiful coast of the coast of Monterey, where Pebble Beach is. Then you get up to San Francisco, and it's beautiful there as well. And then north of that, where the weed country is, Humboldt County and all that, that continues just the picturesque. And you got the Shasta Mountains, the Sierra Nevada Mountains, you got Death Valley. You have agriculture that you just cannot imagine in California. And then there used to be a lot of cattle ranching. I don't know if they still have lots of cattle ranchers there, but there were cattle ranchers there. The state now is, of course, run by left-wing ideologue lunatics. So for a state that large, you know, it is almost, I got to watch how I say this. It is almost a territory that is worth fighting for. If we were to go back 500 years and the border was drawn, and that was California, and it had been basically taken out of play for fine, decent people, and had been taken over by agriculturally skilled Huns, if you will. A case could be made for a crusade to liberate the remaining Christian people there and to return the Kingdom of California, to take it away from the Ottomans or whoever and return it back into Christian hands. It's pretty much where it is today. And it's an abomination. It's a crime. Does anyone think that with someone with the Machiavellian bona fides of a Newsom and then you have a commie Karen Bass running the largest city? Does anyone think that the state of California is poised for a comeback or a rebound or a return to sanity? Here's something to ponder. The baseball team in Los Angeles just won the World Championship of Baseball. A city that can't educate its children, can't protect its most vulnerable, is a haven for the world's illicit drug cartels, and is populated by some estimates of up to 35% illegal alien criminal trespassers, but it has a championship baseball team. Can you get any more out of whack than that? So by every metric and measure, life in Southern California and Los Angeles is execrable by other standards set across the rest of the union. But you got a World Series. And the Los Angeles football Rams are in the running for yet another Super Bowl ring. So how do you have sports dominance with that kind of squalor, with that kind of, surrounded by that kind of evil? That's something somebody could write entire books about, I think. In any event, if there is an announcement that is going to be made, we obviously will. If news breaks out tomorrow, we will break in with the news of Winebox Nancy. Another story that we are following here. A 1,000 Ukrainian men are arriving in Germany every week. We don't hear much about this, other than that supposedly Vladimir Putin is crazy and he won't end the war betwixt the Ukrainians. I don't blame Putin. People that are commenting on this really need educations. There is simply no reason why Ukraine should be arguing for and sacrificing lives for that region called the Donbass. I'm not going to go over it now because we've been over it so many thousand times. I just thought I would mention it, that it continues to be just perplexing. How is it possible that this continues and the United States is on the wrong side of this? Again, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Trump says that Putin won't listen to him and he can't make a peace deal. I will guarantee you that Putin is telling him, all you have to do is tell your deranged sycophant, Zelensky and his goons in NATO, and it's a World Economic Forum on all the stakeholders. All you're going to do is tell them they're not getting the Donbass back. Just let it go legally, and we'll call it quits. Well, you see, for so many reasons, that just can't happen. And the least of the reasons is the vast military-industrial complex has to be fed. I saw a story yesterday. Where did I see it at? It was probably on Twitter. Saw a story yesterday about the amount of debt that is apparently all of the spending that is taking place, because there is no continuing resolution, show all of the government spending that for whatever services or whatever that is taking place, it's all being borrowed. If I understand this correctly here, which I don't understand. So whatever you are funding, you are having to borrow. Do I have that right? Who had this on their bingo card in January? Who had that government shutdown where we're in day, 35 now? By the way, something that has been discovered by many people. The SNAP program, just like Medicaid was always a program that was basically administered by each individual state. Any state could have told the federales at any point in time, we don't want any more Medicaid money. Stop appropriating it. We're not going to spend it anymore. As a matter of fact, you people that live in Tennessee, you actually did this. It was called TennCare. This was back in the late 80s. And the government of the state of Tennessee said, we've had it with all the paperwork and all the red tape and all the crap that goes along with Medicaid, so we're going to do it ourselves. And they actually passed a law, and they opened the thing up, and they tried it. The thing was called TennCare. A funny thing happened, though. Free health care given out at the state level is as cancerous as free health care given out at the state level, but paid for by all the other states. The only difference is, with TennCare, Tennesseans had to pay for it. It didn't even last a year before Tennesseans went, whoa, hey, bro, they volunteered, man. You need to tap the brakes, bro. Don't tap the brakes, stop the truck. And they completely bailed on the entire endeavor and basically apologized and said, please, federal government, take us back. None of this crap works. My buddy, Frank Wright, has a piece at his Substack about surrogacy. This is interesting. Frank says he and I were in a conversation this morning, and I'm talking to Frank, and it's funny. Subject of Rod Dreher came up. And Frank Wright says, I refuse to mention the execrable name of, then he spells out, you just give me a capital R and a bunch of symbols and a capital D and a bunch of symbols, a pitiable fraction of a man to boot. So how does Dreher get into the conversation with me and Frank? And his piece is, and by the way, I asked Frank the question, I'm like, where's the USCCB and where's the Holy Father on the surrogacy crap? Actually, Frank Wright got a message to the Vatican and got an answer. Archbishop Gallagher delivered a statement at the general debate of the high-level week of the opening of the 80th session of the UN. This is on September the 29th. Frank Wright wanted to know, why hasn't the Vatican come out against the surge and surrogacy across the world? Well, the Vatican has, just people don't know about it. So in any event, I'm chatting with Frank about his piece. Here it is. Surrogacy, America's national disgrace. And so it just came out a couple of weeks ago. Today, the UN will call for the global criminalization of so-called surrogacy, but its biggest opponent was who? The United States. Why should the U.S. be a place where it is a haven for surrogates? One word, folks. Homosexuals. You're going to have legalized sodomy and legalized sodomites roaming the countryside, and they're going to be acting all familial and stuff and claiming that they want to have children and whatnot. Where are they going to get them from? They're either going to buy them on a baby market, or they're going to pay women to have them for them. Which is the one that is the most common? Well, little Petey Buttigieg, the Babadook. You pay some broad as a surrogate to have your fake children for you. So it's legal. And it's an abomination here. So Frank has written this piece about it. We'll get some more into it in the next hour as a program. But I brought Rod Dreher into this because Dreher, among hundreds upon hundreds, literally now. Maggie, see if you can pull the piece up at the National Review. It's on the cover of the last issue. It is called Against Trump. And a bunch of popular, famous, or infamous conservatives have written pieces for this. Is that it?
That's it?
No, that's not the cover that I saw. Is that the cover?
That's the article.
Okay, I see actual article. Okay, I saw the cover, the actual cover of the magazine. Would you shoot me a link for that in the Signal chat? I read some of it. I saw the cover. Dana Lash is one of those that has signed. There's a bunch of people whose names that you wouldn't would expect to be on the, and that's on the cover. You'll see all the articles that are there. You know what this reminds me of? And I was around when this came out. Back in the 1990s, after the surge of America First Buchananism, the National Review, along with all the other fake conservatives back then, who all hated Pat, the neocons, got together and they got their magazine, the National Review, to do an entire issue, basically, of the National Review that was entitled "In Search of Anti-Semitism." And why were they in search of anti-Semitism? Well, this is back in the 90s. Wait a minute. I thought that this anti-Semitism was all new that we're here. There it is. Thank you, Maggie. This was to stop Buchanan. It was explicitly to stop Buchanan, who suffered this charge, this scandal. Patrick J. Buchanan most certainly was not an anti-Semite. He never was. He never has been. But he did oppose Zionism. Now, this is back in the 90s. And so they used the National Review to basically take out and to minimalize and then and to try to embarrass into the shadows the then very loud voice of Patrick J. Buchanan. Don't forget, at the 1992 Republican National Convention, George H.W. Bush, in order to shut up people like me who were Buchananites, in order to shut us up, and I met Pat back in his campaign in 1992. I went to a campaign event. They had a Metairie right here in Metairie. In order to shut him up, they had to give him a speaking role at the 1992 Republican National Convention. The people have called the speech the culture war speech. That's not what Buchanan called it, but it has become one of the, it has become a very famous epic and a very famous event in American political history. And what did Buchanan say that conservatives needed to do? Basically, he said and I'm paraphrasing here and putting words into his mouth. He never actually said this, but Buchanan was implying that American conservatives needed to start acting all Catholic-y and stuff. He didn't say Catholic, he said Christian. But I know what he meant, and he knew what he meant. And what Buchanan was saying was you had removed, and Republicans like George H.W. Bush had sold their literal souls to this thing I call the New World Order. Pappy Bush famously gave that speech. We're going to explore this New World Order. You remember the New World Order, the NWO? Well, it was a real thing, and the neocons committed to the campaign. Well, in order to make a project for all conservatism, they had to get rid of the people that were in opposition, us. How do they do it? They used the National Review as one implement. They called Pat Buchanan an anti-Semite. And the campaign began against him. You fast forward to 2003, 2004, and one of the most popular conservative voices in all of broadcast media has been reduced to doing guest appearances every now and then on OMSNBC. You didn't see Pat Buchanan in the late aughts and early teens on shows with O'Reilly or any of those guys. He wasn't welcome on Fox. I know because he would grant interviews to me. And I interviewed him half a dozen times. And I love talking to Pat. The point is, though, Pat Buchanan was truly an American patriot and truly an America firster. And in order to silence that and get rid of it, they used the National Review and fake conservative media to basically do the hit. Well, this is what they're trying to do to Trump. Look at this National Review against Trump, the editors. No one reads the National Review anymore. I don't read it. I don't even go there looking for stories anymore. Every once in a while, someone may say, "Hey, KingDude, did you see the story at the National Review?" But of course, I'm going to say no because I don't read it. The editors, Rich Lowry and Ramesh Ponnaroo and the rest of them, these are neocons of the worst variety. All of them. These are people that are, there are never Trumpers in there. Against Trump. Here's the contributors. Glenn Beck. David Boaz, L. Brent Bazell III, Mona Charon. Talk about a neocon. She is the neocon grandmama. Ben Domenech. Isn't he the Federalist, Ben Domenech? Eric Erickson. I didn't even know that guy was still writing. Steve Hayward, Mark Halperin, Bill Kristol, Yuval Levin. These are all arch enemies of freedom. And any chance that there can be a separation of church and state, where the church is Christian and the state has to answer to the Christian state, these are all enemies, all of them. Andy McCarthy used to be a friend of mine. Another never Trumper. Dave McIntosh, Michael Medved. How does he get in there? Ed Meese, Russell Moore, Michael McCasey, Katie Pavlich, John Podhoretz. I thought that I saw Dana Lash. Dana Lash is in there. In any event, I didn't read any of these against Trump articles, and I don't know what part of the Trump agenda or Trumpism that they are opposed to. But I will tell you this. The MAGA moment, there still is a chance for a MAGA moment. You realize the enemies now. Not only did you have to fight the federal judges, the left-hard federal judges, not only did you have to fight and try and overcome all of the illegal and illicit opposition from leftards from Spokane, Washington, all the way to Key Biscayne, Florida, and all parts in between. Not only did you have to overcome a completely and totally hostile media that owned almost every large gathering or a big audience media outlet. Not only did you have to overcome all that, now you have to overcome the enemies within the supposed conservative party, the Republican Party here. That's what this is. Are you in that number?
It's the WWE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
I'm gonna win ya. I'm gonna get you one way or another. I'm gonna see ya. I wanna meet ya one day, maybe I'll meet ya. I will drive past your house, and if the lights are all down, I'll see who's around. One way or another, I'm gonna find ya. I'm gonna get ya, get ya, get ya, get ya. One way or another, I'm gonna win ya. I'll get ya. One way or another, I'm gonna see ya. I'm gonna meet ya, meet ya, meet ya, meet ya. One day, maybe next week, I'm gonna meet ya. I'll meet ya. And if the lights are all out, I'll follow your bus downtown. See who's there.
Hey, Jim, remember when we used to be like Joe Walsh?
I'm making records, my fans, they can't wait.
Now we just talk about making hit records. Well, parody versions of hit records.
Join the KingDude and Jim Mosier as they pick apart the greatest parody songs of all time and the hits they were based on. It's Album Autopsy, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be, and doesn't disappoint your mother.
Hey, it's the King Dude with another free lesson in stuff you really don't need to know. Harvest was Great Britain's name for the season that follows summer, until autumn began to displace it at the end of the 16th century. But English immigrants to America preferred fall to autumn. And did you know that fall is caused by the sun setting below the equator in the northern hemisphere sky, also known as the equinox, which continues south to the winter solstice? Here's another seasonal fact for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our founder's Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag? Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off, and I'll throw in a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. You know, don't cost nothing. Hurry, fall is here, and flag flying season in the north is limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us at 844-527-8723. The Carillon de Sacré-Cœur flag will beautify any indoor or outdoor space it flies in, but supplies are limited. So order today at mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723. The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Junipera with your Saint of the Day. Today's saint is Saint Charles Borromeo. He was the nephew of Pope Pius IV. He was, quote, the soul of the Council of Trent, end quote, which protected the Catholic faith in the 16th century against the inroads of the Protestant Reformation. St. Charles Borromeo wrote the following prayer to his guardian angel, quote, O beloved guardian angel, who has been given me as a protector by the divine majesty, I desire to die in the faith which the Holy Roman and Apostolic Church adheres to and defends, in which all the saints of the New Testament have died, and outside of which there is no salvation. End quote. St. Charles Borromeo gave St. Aloysius his first Holy Communion. St. Charles Borromeo, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the life of today's saint. Tomorrow's saint is St. Zachary and Elizabeth, and the Feast of the Holy Relics. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Maria Junipera, and until next time, God bless and Mary keep you.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
Hal, open the pod bay doors.
I'm sorry, I can't do that, KingDude.
Hal, why can't you open the pod bay doors?
Because, KingDude, MAGA Earth isn't ready for you yet.
When will MAGA Earth be ready for me, Hal?
When 1.76 trillion scales have fallen from their eyes. Oh.
Yes, Hal.
And KingDude, they'll also need a wicked sense of humor.
Don't be stuck in the broadcasting world of 2001. Grab a Crusade size update and catch the Mike Church shows weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. East, exclusively on the Crusade Channel live talk and podcast radio for the 2025 listener, the way it should be.
Back in the 90s, there was this thing called the cigar boom, where everyone was buying and smoking handmade cigars. But here's the thing. The popular cigars then were the best-made cigars, like Fuente, Joya de Monterrey, and Avo. Over the next 10 years, craftsmanship was replaced by gimmick and slick packaging, and that's when I decided to get in the business and launched El Rey Dude Corona cigars. 20 years later, I launched Mancipio Maria cigars, with that same principle in mind. Make a great handmade cigar, and that's exactly what we do in 4 sizes. I invite you to try a 4-pack sampler of my Mancipia Maria cigars and taste them for yourself in smooth, natural, or bold Maduro wrappers. And to sweeten the deal, I've discounted them 25% for a limited time. And as always, we include a personal humidifier with every order. To order, go to shop.mikechurch.com. Order $50 or more, and shipping is on me. Try my Mancipia Maria cigars today at shop.mikechurch.com.
The Crusade Channel, your talk podcast and Fiorella File station.
Fiorella is the literary savage who skips sensitivity training. She is the librarian who reads and reviews books so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to the Fiorella Files. On my show, I will be introducing you to books, classic and contemporary, that you must read, should enjoy reading, or should not touch with an 11-foot barge pole.
10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Monday on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Brother Mike Church presents Flashback. Sinful things that were happening 20 years ago. Jurassic Park, the remake of Godzilla, and the beginning of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Are either of you homosexuals?
You mean like flaming, or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
Let's hope and pray no one will ever confess those sins again. The Mike Church Show, preaching and teaching from his abbey while living here in the present on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
Fastest 3 hours in all of broadcast media. The Mike Church Show is on. 34 years young. America's morning show, a crusade for the truth. Here on the Crusade Channel on a Tuesday. This portion of the program brought to you by 10th Anniversary Crusade Channel t-shirts. And Button Down Red Cap is the brand. Button Down Red Cap. work shirts with twin pockets on the front and the button-down shirt style that I love wearing them. I have a dozen of them in the closet. And backups for when I mess them up cooking or cleaning or whatever I do out in the yard. Get your 10th anniversary. Not done with AI. I actually did the artwork. It's very cool. It has all of the shows that have been on the Crusade channel these past 10 years. You'll find your favorite on there or one that you just have a misty-eyed nostalgia for. They're all there. Get your, please, pre-order today. Shop.mikechurch.com. Sizes small to 3X fat bastard. You know what the number one selling size was? I don't know if this is a commentary on the audience or what. 2X. Used to be the large and XL back in the Sirius XM Patriot days, 10 years ago. Or so large and extra large were the biggest selling sizes. And then 3X and 4X. So I got a request one time for, I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked for a 5X. And I said, how about if I just give you the shirt? You keep the money and use it to buy a bag of fruit. 5X. So, no, there's no 5Xs in the store, but you can get a 3X Fat Bastard. Shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget the El Rey do Corona, Manchipia Maria cigars, and our world-famous Beast and Butt rubs, the Cooking with the KingDude rubs, all in the same store, and the awesome, amazing book collection. So many great books, including Bear Wozniak's 12 Rules for Manliness. Get yourself a nice read, some cigars, some rub for your tailgating and your indoor cooking, too. Our rubs work on any kind of cooking that you do, and make sure you reserve your 10th anniversary Crusade Channel T-shirt and button-down work shirt with the beautiful 10th anniversary logo on the left front breast and on the back. Shop.mikechurch.com. We didn't listen to any of the interviews yesterday. We had one clip from Trump's interview with Norah O'Donnell. What I thought this story at the Federalist.com was interesting. Trump on 60 Minutes. Political retribution is what Democrats did to me and my family. You're looking at a man who was indicted many times, and I had to beat the rap. Otherwise, I couldn't have run for president, is what he told Norah O'Donnell. That is a fascinating thing to recall. By just for edification or clarification, the National Review cover against Trump is from May of 2021. The sentiment is still there because one of those authors reposted it yesterday. And then it got posted by the Ben father or someone else, and then was just a series of yeah against Trump. Imagine that you're trying to do what you think is the right thing, and then at every turn, it seems you are thwarted. At every turn, you find enemies you didn't know that you had. And at every turn, it seems, the enemies seem to have some upper hand over you. Even though you go, but wait a minute. I didn't do that. Yes, you did. No, I'm pretty sure that I didn't. No, I didn't do that. Yes, you did. Well, even if you didn't, we're going to charge you for it anyway. Or even if you didn't, then we're going to hold you accountable or make you responsible for it anyway. And that's basically what had to be done to get to the Republican nomination, which I think is fascinating. And looking back on that 2021 article, all of conservative-dom was aligned against the soon-to-then be indicted citizen, former president, Trump. You fast forward to July 13th, 2024. He almost loses his life to an assassin's bullet. And then the nomination for the presidency at the top of the Republican Party ticket is then basically guaranteed if he is, provided he survives. What happened to all of that opposition? Well, I say that most of it stayed there. And that you have as many people inside the right-wing tent that are working against the president as you have outside the left-wing tent. Because at the end of the day, they all feed at the same trough, don't they? And if they're all eating out of the same pig slop, parasite pig slop, that you and I provide and are on the hook for, well, then who is the real enemy? Who is trying to be the actual hero? Now, you think about that. 100 years from now, the United States is still around, and I don't know that it will be, but if it is, there's a very good chance that there will be all manner of nostalgic biopic films and books and stuff that will be written about what Citizen Trump did to get back to being President Trump. I don't think that that's not nothing. As a matter of fact, I was one of the things that we have to deal with on a daily basis, being in media these days. Did you not get the Elon clip? You know where it is. It's on my Twitter, and I did retweet that one. There won't be any, you didn't retweet it. Yes, I did. I think that this, now, you don't, I should actually give a warning when before I play this digital media file. What? Why? Because he's going to talk about the space program. And you're going to get the usual crank suspects. We faked the moon landing, Stanley Cooper. What?
I said the Earth is flat.
Earth is flat. We faked the moon landing. Stanley Cooper was in on it. You don't really believe that, do you, KingDude? I think that Elon, and I don't know where this was, but it looks recent, and I haven't seen it. I think that this is actually correct. And that I think this is good advice that some people actually might need to hear.
That's bad, actually. But there are a lot of negative things in the world. There's a lot of terrible things that are happening all over the world, all the time. There are lots of problems that need to get solved. There's lots of things that are miserable and kind of get you down. But life cannot just be about solving one miserable problem after another. That can't be the only thing. There need to be things that inspire you, that make you glad to wake up in the morning and be part of humanity. Earth is the cradle of humanity, but you cannot stay in the cradle forever.
Why not?
It is time to go forth, become a star-faring civilization, be out there among the stars, expand the scope and scale of human consciousness. I find that incredibly exciting. That makes me glad to be alive. I hope you feel this.
And this is another one of these. Who decides these idiots? It's like a 50, you know why? Because it won't work as a short if you go beyond 60 seconds. Okay, so I'm leaving the chat room because I'm not reading all this garbage about the moon landing being faked. When sanity returns to my chat room, then I shall return. Until such time, shigong! There's something to what Elon just said there, and most people don't want to hear it. I find that that is a sign of the times. That most people don't want to hear that, or do you have anything that you look forward to that makes you wake up in the morning? I'd like to ask the guy with it's noon and there's no one been arrested yet. Is that what you wake up for every day? to put it's noon and no one's been arrested yet. The people that spend 25 hours a day invading against the invasion of whoever it is that's coming to kill us today and take all of our freedoms and liberties away. Is that what animates you to get you up every day? Is there anyone in this audience that actually wakes up to actually do something constructive, positive? I don't know. Maybe try and become a saint. You can't say that just 2025 didn't that thing that people were coming saints. Yeah, no, I got the memo. I heard.
But that's hard.
Maggie's going like, nah, you done crossed the Rubicon, radio host, dude. Went too far. That becoming saint nonsense, that's hard. Yeah, I know. There was a sermon that played on Sermon Sunday this past Sunday from Father Wolf. And, because it was All Saints Day, what the gist of the sermon was you live in, and he gave this 13 years ago, it's like 2012. He goes, you live in an age where standing out as a saint right now is probably as easy as it has been since the proto-martyr, St. Stephen. You wouldn't even really have to work that hard at it to stand out as someone who was saintly. No, I'm not saying that everyone is going to wake up and is going to pursue sainthood, although I think the world would be a much better place if people did. But what if you were building something? It gets me excited every day. I'm going to learn a little bit more about how to build this. I'm going to learn a little bit more about how to make that. I'm going to work just a little bit harder today on inserting myself into my grandchildren's lives in a good way. There are all manner of things that people can do or can say or can work at that are, at the end of the day, what Elon was talking about, what would inspire you to get you up every day. I'm not inspired to get up every day and fight bad guys. Yeah, Erica Kirk the other day, one of the question and answer at that event with J.D. Vance, somebody asked her, I forget what the question was. To tell you the truth, I didn't see the question. I saw the answer. Her answer was, no, I didn't sign up for anything. I signed up to marry the love of my life, be a wife and a mother. That's what I signed up for. Maybe that's still what gets her up in the morning to what she signed up for. We cannot be the people that spend all of our waking hours in abject misery. Constantly carping, crying, and complaining about everything that's wrong and not working singularly or together on something that is good, true, and beautiful, and is right. But it just doesn't seem that sells, does it? Oh no, start talking about Khazarians. Here, take my money. Start talking about the Ben father. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen this, but Maggie, do you have it on the cut sheet? You probably don't.
Just a little Ben.
You know what I'm talking about, the Ben father monologue against Nick Fuentes. And that he is a groyper and no to this. And now apparently Tucker Carlson is public enemy number one. And Tucker has always been a fake and a fraud. And he is an anti-Semite and a terrible journalist. And he's normalized anti-Semitism because he did an interview. He didn't ask the tough questions. Well, here, I have an idea. Why don't you follow up then? You want tough questions? Why don't you ask Fuentes if he'll sit down with you? And you ask the questions you claim that Carlson didn't ask. Maybe it is that maybe Tucker has a policy, kind of like I have. I don't do. Ha ha! Gotcha.
It's rude.
I think it's rude. I think it's crass. I think it's stupid. And I don't like it. And all of you people out there seem to be, yeah! somebody is invited, if you invite someone to a party at your house and you don't like them, did you invite them to the party so that when they get there, you can stop the music in the middle of everyone's good time and then start telling rotten tales about this person, embarrass and scandalize them, and leave them a pile of writhing, wriggling, writhing flesh on the ground? Is that why you invited them to your party? Well, maybe Tucker Carlson has a policy when I invite someone on to be interviewed here, I'm inviting him, and he literally is inviting them into part of his home, that I'm not here to do a gotcha. I'm here to hear what makes you tick. Yeah, but he could have asked a follow-up question about that. I mean, I didn't watch the whole interview. I would have asked the question about, why you got to curse all the time, bro? Wait. What part of becoming a broadcast king requires the constant dropping of the F-bomb? Is that what millennials expect from their broadcast heroes? No wonder we can't buy an audience. Maybe I should do the R-rated version of the Mike Church Show and just tell you, oh, no, the good version where we try to police ourselves. Remember, obedience to the unenforceable. And yeah, I've let a BS slip here and there the last 5 years. I always thought that they were appropriately priced. I don't make a habit of it. I don't do it every day. We don't air sound bites because we think they have language on it. Sometimes, and I will disclaim it and say, look, there's language on it. I think that the soundbite doesn't make sense if I don't leave the language in because you won't understand the point. So I'll leave it in. You can tune out now and come back in 3 minutes, and there will be no language issue. But we don't go on air every day from the point of view that this is the Catholic radio version of the Andrew Dice Clay Show. I don't know why. Watch the Benfather clip. And then watch the Benfather clip if you dare. And then read Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles' responses under it. So I'm looking at this and going, oh, I see what you did there. So let's corral all the, quote, Catholic broadcasters, close quote, under the roof that is the Daily Wire. Put them all under one roof here. Then the Benfather will come out, the kind, benevolent Benfather, all-knowing and all-seeing, and the sole arbiter and an investigator and inspector of anti-Semitism in the world will come out and will proclaim that there's only one anti-Semite. Now he's aided and abetted, and it's Nick Fuentes, and he's aided and abetted with his army of millennials by Tucker Carlson, and that Tucker is the enemy, and there really is no enemy here because it's just Jews. It's just hating on Jews. There is no such thing as Zionism. There is no such thing as Israel first and all of that stuff. And then you'll have Knowles and Walsh come on. Yes, we all long for the day where we talk more about America than we do the New Jersey of the Middle East, as Knowles put it. Sometimes there is actually something to talk about when you're spending tens of billions of dollars and tens of thousands of people are actually dying in a war that shouldn't happen, and the United States of America is providing intelligence, weaponry, and dollars to the cause of a genocide against the people. I think that's worthy of talking about. You don't have to do it every day, and you don't have to do it if you have a 3-hour-long show. You don't have to do all 3 hours on it. If there is a update on it and you wish to do the update, then you should do that. I almost think that you're responsible, that you should do that. But I love how these come in. Yes, we want to talk about America. What would you like to talk about, America? What shall we talk about America today? Let's talk about Zoran the Moron, the Kami Mandani. Max Remington has a Substack today, The Avoidable Stupidity of Multiculturalism. Remember when Zoran the Moron, the not magnificent Kami Mandani, said that his aunt was running around after 9/11 in her hijab, and she was scared for her life, and people were mocking her and making fun of her. And then this was the worst moment to be a Muslim in America here, and there aren't enough mosques, and Andrew Cuomo doesn't know where the mosques are, and my auntie, this was not America, what they did to my poor little auntie. And then he was finally busted, and the lie that wasn't his aunt. Max Remington makes the point where he comes from, in that Muslim culture that he comes from, they don't distinguish between a kissing cousin, a cousin, and an aunt. He may have actually genuinely thought that his father's cousin was what they would call an aunt. Well, how does that play in New York? You know who Aunt Petunia is, don't you? You know who Uncle Bobo is, don't you? Why do you call them aunt and uncle here in this culture in the United States? Well, uncle, because that's the son of your brother, or you are the brother of my father or my mother. Aunt, you are the sister of my brother, sister of my father or brother. In other words, we have like an actual reality-based and a family tree-based way to determine if someone is an aunt or if someone is an uncle, right? Where Zoran Moran's father and where those jihadis come from, they don't have that. That's the point, that he actually probably wasn't lying, and that makes it even worse.
For 9 years now, Brother Andre Marie's Reconquest has been your source for best in Catholic philosophy, history, and saints.
Well, I'm the new gal at this monastery, and Jiminy Christmas, after 4 years of auto pens, social media heresy, I could use some Catholic philosophy.
Well, call yourself a blessed girl, because new episodes debut Wednesdays at 8 Central, and there's over 475 podcasts available on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on CrusadeChannel.com. Live talk and educational radio.
The way it should be.
Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Junipera with your Saint of the Day. Today's saint is Saint Charles Borromeo. He was the nephew of Pope Pius IV. He was, quote, the soul of the Council of Trent, end quote, which protected the Catholic faith in the 16th century against the inroads of the Protestant Reformation. St. Charles Borromeo wrote the following prayer to his guardian angel, quote, O beloved guardian angel, who has been given me as a protector by the divine majesty, I desire to die in the faith which the Holy Roman and Apostolic Church adheres to and defends, in which all the saints of the New Testament have died, and outside of which there is no salvation. End quote. St. Charles Borromeo gave St. Aloysius his first Holy Communion. St. Charles Borromeo, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the life of today's saint. Tomorrow's saint is St. Zachary and Elizabeth, and the Feast of the Holy Relics. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Maria Junipera, and until next time, God bless and Mary keep you.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about in these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com.
Okay, please enter the 9-digit 2-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez. What do you mean, prove I'm human? Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car. Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
If women living near rivers and taking the pill turns the frickin' frogs gay, imagine what happens to men on the same river who don't listen to Mike Church.
Is a wire, seen in the subway, up is a fire. Woman, you want me, give me a sign.
Performing this show with 96.2% of my testosterone and intellect tied behind my back, just to make it fair. An oasis of actual conservatism. Wash in a sea of neocon, anti-Christian, anti-Catholic hacks. So Mike Churchill here on the Crusade channel. News headlines: seven polling places in New Jersey have had bomb threats phoned in. How much do you want to bet that those polling places were hallowed, sacred, the holiest and greatest of all people, minorities, where they vote? How much you want to bet those bomb threats are in people were crazed white people, white nationalist, supremacist, MAGA wackos vote? How much also you want to bet that there will be appeals by the Republican Party, if that is the case, to have the polls remain open an extra hour or so? Because people are going to be told this morning here, you can't go in. Why? There's a bomb threat. Well, it's the only time of the day until I get off of work that I can vote. Well, you're going to have to come back later then.
So they were in Bergen, Essex, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, and Passaic.
Can you say that out loud into...
Here, I'll post them.
You have a microphone right there. You could have just as easy... Bergen, Essex... Hold on, folks. Where? I'm not in the chat room. Okay. I can't go in the chat room anymore. Bergen, Essex, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, and Passaic counties. I don't know where any of those are, but if you're in New Jersey, maybe you do. I wonder, are they red counties? You know what? You can get an electoral map and you can find out what counties they're in. Whether or not they're red or blue counties. I bet you. Here, we don't need to flip a coin. What's the Vegas morning odds? This portion of the program and polling place bomb update alerts is brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store at shop.mikechurch.com. Get yourself a bottle of my world famous Beast and Butt Rub, Chicken Mamu, Acadiana steak seasoning. Get the all three for one low price. But if you only want one, then I would get the Beast and Butt Rub. It is so versatile and so unique. It's unlike any spice that you've ever had. And people that start using it stay using it. That's the key. It's building up its own little audience. Beast and Butt Rub devotees. Find out what all the fuss is about today at shop.mikechurch.com. At shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget to please today, go get it now. Pre-order your 10th anniversary Crusade channel, 10th anniversary commemoratives, limited edition t-shirts, and button-down red cap work shirts, all available at the same place. That's at shop.mikechurch.com. And don't forget the great books, including the Weird Catholic Handbook, which we can't keep in stock every time we get it in, and the coffee. We have our Capuchin Holy Roast coffee, which is one of the best blended coffees that there is out there. As a matter of fact, I am drinking it today in my Capuchin Holy Roast mug. Shop with us today. Your purchases benefit the Crusade Channel. Shop.mikechurch.com. Can you tell what the counties, what they are? I'm just curious. It doesn't matter.
Okay, good, because they're all over. Some are in the north, some are...
No, I mean on a map where it shows where the 2024 presidential election, whether or not it was a red county or a blue county. And again, the bomb threats that have been called in New Jersey: Bergen, Essex, Mercer, Middlesex, Monmouth, Ocean, and Passaic, depending on whose side you're on. Passaic is a river, which is, let's see, the Passaic, I used to know this, Hudson, Hackensack, it's Passaic, then Raritan, right? And then Delaware, I think. So that's mid-southern New Jersey, the Passaic? All right, and don't have any other details on other than the bomb threats were called in. I found this article. Here are your headlines at Drudge. And I've just thought, you know what? Went to Drudge yesterday. We should do an update. Let's go to Drudge today. This is what the Drudge report says today. If you're curious, you don't have to go there and give him a click. Tucker unites right-wing media against him. Shapiro sabotaging America. Tucker Carlson, one interview with one dude, and the whole thing has been sabotaged. Right. Heritage in revolt. Footsie with Nazis. Dinesh D'Souza. Who cares? Not going to finish the headline. Don't care. Fuentes was Kirk's better enemy. Now he's become his successor. Maggie has sent me a map. So the blue counties that go for that are blue are probably, those are all northern Jersey. Bergen and Essex and Passaic, those are all in the northeast corner. Sussex didn't get a threat. Let's see, Ocean. Ocean is south central. Monmouth is kind of south central, above Ocean. Those are probably red counties. I'm just guessing. And let's see, Mercer County is, well, that's west central Jersey, or Midwest central. I can't tell on that map whether or not they're red counties or not. In any event, I thought it was interesting, or I thought it would be interesting to find out why you would be calling bomb threats in, or maybe they were called in to Democrat polling places. Well, and you know who would have done that? Democrats. You say the right wing's trying to suppress the vote. Okay, there it is. Okay, well, Bergen is light blue. Essex is dark blue. let's see, Middlesex. Where's that at? Middlesex is light blue. So these are all Democrats threatening to bomb their own polling precincts. You know, that's what they're going to say. This is a rigged election here. They're trying to suppress the minority votes. It's probably Democrats threatening to bomb Democrat polling places. And then they'll point the finger and he's to blame. In any event, I never heard of this outfit before. It's called The Wrap. Here's the headline at thewrap.com, whatever this is. Tucker Carlson by Corbin Boyles. Tucker Carlson unites the right-wing media against him over Nick Fuentes interview. The former Fox News anchor is angering prominent conservative voices and Republican lawmakers for hosting a white nationalist on his platform. These are the same people that also were probably upset when he went and interviewed Putin. Carlson's decision last week to interview the 27-year-old white nationalist Nick Fuentes for over 2 hours sent shockwaves through conservative media circles, with everyone from the Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro. I want to know who was it who made and said that Shapiro has ever been a conservative. He's pro-homo. He's pro-abort. He's pro-contraception. What makes this guy a conservative? Yeah, but I argued against stupid anti-Semitism, and I argued against the attack on free speech on college campus. Besides the fact of the annoyance factor. From the Daily Wire's Ben Shapiro to Barry Weiss's The Free Press to the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. Again, none of those are conservative entities. As a matter of fact, I don't know that there is a conservative publishing outfit now. Maybe the American Conservative, or what's left of it. They do publish a magazine, and I think that they're conservative, but nobody else is going to, unless you're a radical traditional Catholic. The guys at Steubenville Franciscan College publish a magazine every quarter. It's called The New Polity. None of you read it. I'm probably the only person that's a subscriber, and I don't talk about it, but when I get an article from The New Polity, I probably share it here on the air. To me, The New Polity, that's what I would call a conservative outlet. Does anyone else even know that New Polity, that the magazine exists? Mark Barnes, Andrew Willard Jones, Michael Hanby, some of the guys that are writers there, and they crank some great essays out. Good stuff. You've heard them here on the show. But are they considered a conservative media? No. The Wall Street Journal is. Well, the Journal used to be, I think, a conservative organ. It's not anymore. But the decision last week by Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts to absolve Carlson of any wrongdoing, saying that trying to cancel Fuentes was not the answer to addressing anti-Semitism. Again, this is all a panic. This is the Likudists working with their allies here in the United States against the pushback against them. This doesn't have anything to do with Israel or Israelis at the end of the day. It has everything to do with Netanyahu and his war party. Isn't it interesting here that no matter if we're talking about not about a non-interventionist foreign policy, which is an America First ideal. Washington had one, and we had a non-interventionist foreign policy all the way up until Roosevelt, the first Roosevelt. With an exception or two with the invasion of Mexico. Yes, I'm well aware. I know all about it. Somebody, what about that? Yeah, okay, all right, man. Non-interventionism is the priority of the founding generation who made it so that you couldn't have a standing army for more than 2 years. They tried, in other words, they tried to stop it. They knew what a war machine could do. And they knew that if your government turned into a perennial and perpetual supporter of a standing army and a war machine, then yeah, that is an attack and assault on freedom and liberty. And it is going to cost national treasure and blood. And it still does. A modest, non-interventionist foreign policy is the beau ideal of conservatism. Okay, who opposes that? Republicans primarily. And who are they? The Lindsey Grahams of the world, who never saw an intervention that they didn't want the United States to get involved in. Right, here I am talking about the people, the ads that you see on Fox News, for example, that you need to send $11 a month to this entity or that entity to help support these soldiers who got their legs blown off in Dick Cheney and Lindsey Graham and George Bush's wars to install democracy, you see, in the Middle East. Well, we have to go and fight the bad guys over there so they don't come over here and we don't have to fight them here, right? That's not conservatism. Who are the enemies of that? Well, the Shapiros of the world. There's always an enemy, especially in the Middle East, that needs some good old-fashioned American exceptionalism, and we're only too happy to provide it. That's not conservative. I've been arguing that position since 2008. It's not new here, but there is no, where is the conservative media entity or the media entity that, for example, defends that? Well, it used to be, and for whatever inexplicable reason, this was Donald Trump's position. Trump was a non-interventionist, unless it just happens to be an intervention that the country of Israel is engaged in, or wishes for us to help them get engaged in. That's not anti-Semitism to oppose that. It's anti-intervention. I'm not an interventionist, neither are you. And if it just so happens that it's being done because Christian people have to go over there and fight, no, you don't. That is not what the teaching is. And again, I talked about my friend Don Jeffries yesterday, who came. Donald Jeffries is out in the open now, as many other people are. I wrote to Don. I didn't hear back. Maybe I'll hear back and he'll come on tomorrow. Evangelicals and the veneration of Israel, Schofield and Zionized Christianity. I'm not breaking any news here, and I'm not going to do a monologue. I'm just going to bring it up here in this context here. So what is this? They're losing. They're losing their grip, especially on young, conservative Christian Americans who see this for what it is and don't want anything to do with it. And so this is an effort to recapture it. This is their, hey, man, stop the bleeding, dude. Tucker Carlson may have done him a favor. If anything, you ought to be sending him thank you notes. The story continues. To addressing anti-Semitism turned those shockwaves into a schism, with right-wing figures blasting the conservative think tank, that's the Heritage Foundation, for trying to equivocate when it comes to far-right hosts who praise Nazi leader Adolf Hitler and called the Holocaust exaggerated. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course, Shapiro said. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes, and that the Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance. Must watch, Weiss wrote in an ex-post quoting Shapiro's video. For shame. How does Tucker Carlson become public enemy number one? Well, he started telling the truth. There is no room in modern conservatism for Christian truth. which is a position against Zionism. You're not even supposed to use that word. If you use that word, that makes you an anti-Semite, right? Don't say Zionism or Mark Levin will come after you. I'd like to know how many of those people actually watched the entirety of Carlson's interview. And what exactly is it that he was supposed to do? Again, that's not his style. He doesn't do the hand-to-hand. That's what Bill O'Reilly does. There are people that do those interviews. Tucker's not one of them. He's like me. He does the kind of interview that I do. I'm going to invite someone on the show, and I'm going to interview them. I'm probably going to want to learn a little bit about them, and I'm going to want the audience to know, okay, well, this is what makes this guy tick. This is what makes that gal tick. Okay, now, what are you ticking about, right? That's kind of how you do that. Yes, Maggie?
I was just going to say, though, this is truly nothing new for Tucker Carlson because he got this treatment after he interviewed Vladimir Putin. So Tucker does not care.
Tucker also now, in the revisionist history, they're all now alarmed that he interviewed historian Roy Cooper. You know, Victor Davis Hanson went out of his way and had someone interview him so he could ask Victor Davis Hanson, a neocon, smart one, but he's still a neocon, if he could, what he thought about Tucker's interview with Roy Cooper. And of course, Victor Davis Hanson did what he was supposed to do. He was the away team for the Shapirites. He went in there and he went, this wasn't real history. This is revisionist history. These history advisors, they don't know this about World War II. They're making apologies for this and that and the other. And they're saying that Churchill did this. Well, Churchill did do those things. You know, we have this on pretty good authority. There are books that have been written about this. And Pat Buchanan is not the only one that's written a book about it. About Churchill's war. So it seems to me that Tucker just got on the wrong side of the truth, which is the correct side. And we can't have people with influence have that as something that they broadcast to tens of millions of people. You can't have people hearing the truth. Now, I don't know about because I didn't watch the entire Fuentes interview. As a matter of fact, after editing that soundbite that I edited from yesterday's show, I probably don't want to watch the rest of that interview. So I'm going to stick with the clips that I've watched. The story continues now. The Wall Street Journal's editorial board wrote on Sunday. Can you believe this now? The editorial board of the Wall Street Journal has now been enlisted to take out Nick Fuentes. Mr. Fuentes has free speech and uses it to fantasize about killing and deporting Jews. Is it now cancel culture to criticize Mr. Carlson for treating Mr. Fuentes like a political truth teller and feeding him softball questions? They're all experts now in interviewing. You see this? One of the journals going to write How to Interview Jew Haters 101. Chapter 1, be mean. Chapter 2, be meaner. Chapter 3, go on your media and be even meaner. They're trying to cancel Tucker now. They're trying to cancel Tucker. This after, look at what has happened here. In the first year, we're 10 months into or 11 months into the Trump presidency. They successfully canceled Elon. They got rid of Elon. They got him completely out of the Doge scene, even though he says, no, I still have some influence and it's still going on. Now they've set their sights on taking Tucker Carlson out. I wonder who else. Of course, they assassinated Charlie. Somebody assassinated Charlie. They got rid of Elon. They got rid of Charlie, who was asking questions about all this. And now they're taking Tucker out. Who in the hell are these people? You know, I'm not the conspiratorial type, but if I wanted to be, this would be one I would say is a conspiracy. And it's happening in real time. The criticism of Carlson has extended beyond media figures into the political stage. Senator Ted Cruz, who sparred with Carlson earlier this year over the U.S. relationship with Israel and its bombing of Iran's nuke facilities, said that the Republican Jewish coalition, I'm going to ask the question again, is there a Republican Christian coalition or Catholic coalition?
It's not tape or a Post-it or a candy bar, but this new 3M
is the freshest spin on true crime shows since dinosaurs were solving cold cases with fossil evidence. Yeah, it's that original, folks.
Mom's Murders and Mysteries. New episodes debut every Tuesday night, 6:30 East, 4 West, exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Live talk podcast radio, the way it should be. Everybody loves a good trilogy. The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and now the KingDude Seasoning Trilogy. There's Beast and Butt Rub, Acadiana Steak, and the brand new Chicken Mamu Seasoning, a lemon herb-based rub that's won trophies in barbecue chicken cook-offs. Now, we've bundled all 3 spices together, and you can get them for one low price for less than it costs to rent a movie trilogy. And the KingDude offers you his personal money-back guaranteed of your taste buds' complete satisfaction. Order a KingDude Seasoning Trilogy today at shop.mychurch.com.
Have you ever dreamed of being like Brian Kay or Mitter Monday and being a free Farm Friday star? But you know you have no shot at it because you can't tell the difference between a U and a Y-O-U. Well, lucky for you, we have an entire bookstore filled with the books you need to become so passionate for farming, you'll soon be wearing a Brian Kay Calls Me for Advice t-shirt. So learn to grow by growing your library with books by shopping at shop.mikechurch.com.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville.
Well, it's what our call letters would be.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different. Like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. Today's newscast brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that's won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Trump backs Como and threatens to cut federal funding if communist Mamdani wins New York City mayoral race. Massive fraud uncovered in food stamp program. Foreign charities contributing $2 billion to left-wing groups. And archaeologists discover beautifully preserved church at site of ancient Roman hospital in Turkey. President Donald Trump publicly endorsed Andrew Cuomo on Monday while threatening to withhold federal funding from New York City if Zohran Mamdani, who he labeled a communist, wins the mayoral election. In a lengthy post on Truth Social, he also warned the city would face total economic and social disaster under Mamdani's leadership. If communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than the very minimum as required to my beloved first home because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival, he wrote in the post. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins on Sunday said the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, food stamps is a broken and corrupt program after benefits lapsed over the weekend due to the government shutdown. In an interview with Fox, Rollins said that while the Trump administration is moving to get the program restarted, 21 states refused to hand over data to DOJ on whether illegal immigrants were receiving these benefits. Thousands of cases of illegal benefit use were also found, dozens arrested for SNAP fraud, and thousands of dead people were still receiving benefits. 5 foreign charities have contributed nearly $2 billion to left-wing climate and social justice agendas in the U.S., according to an October 31st report by nonpartisan group Americans for Public Trust. The report stated at least one of the listed foreign organizations is connected to the CCP. The U.S. does have laws preventing foreign nationals and governments from giving money to candidates, political committees, and super PACs, and from participating in campaigns' decision-making. However, according to the report, many other politically active groups in the country are not required to publicly disclose donations from these and other foreign groups, creating a loophole to influence policymaking. Our quote of the day: if you are what you should be, you will set the whole world ablaze. St. Catherine of Siena. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com. Now, in our 9th year, Crusade Channel News is simply the best daily newscast on all of radio.
News that informs and inspires and doesn't destroy any critical thinking brain cells.
Catch it at 6, 8, and 3 p.m. on the Crusade Channel, our app, and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and news radio.
The way it should be.
Our saint of the day is St. Charles Borromeo. The name of Charles Borromeo is associated with reform. He lived during the time of the Protestant Reformation and had a hand in the reform of the whole church during the final years of the Council of Trent. Although he belonged to the Milanese nobility and was related to the powerful Medici family, Charles desired to devote himself to the church. In 559, when his uncle Cardinal de' Medici was elected Pope Pius IV, he made Charles cardinal deacon and administrator of the Archdiocese of Milan. At the time, Charles was still a layman and a young student. Because of his intellectual qualities, Charles was entrusted with several important offices connected with the Vatican and later appointed Secretary of State. Soon after being ordained a priest at the age of 25, Borromeo was consecrated Bishop of Milan. Working behind the scenes, St. Charles deserves the credit for keeping the Council of Trent in session when at several points it was on the verge of breaking up. Borromeo encouraged the Pope to renew the council in 1562 after it had been suspended for 10 years. Eventually, Borromeo was allowed to devote his time to the Archdiocese of Milan. He allotted most of his income to charity, forbade himself all luxury, and imposed severe penances upon himself. He sacrificed wealth, high honors, esteem, and influence to become poor. During the plague and famine of 1576, Borromeo tried to feed 60,000 to 70,000 people daily. Work and the heavy burdens of his high office began to affect his health, leading to his death at the age of 46. An archaeological excavation in Turkey recently yielded a Roman hospital turned Christian sanctuary, offering new insight into centuries of ancient history. The ruins were found in the ancient city of Konos, in the southwestern Turkey's Mughla province. They were inside a monastery area within the city's walls. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
It's the WWE and the UFC for live talk radio Thursday Night Throwdown, hosted by you. Win a seat at the table, win the throwdown, and then you pick next week's topic.
Now that's real live talk radio exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Radio, the way it should be.
What's the difference between your average day late dollar short podcast and the Mike Church Show live? About the same as between the new Walker, Texas Homo and Walt Longmire.
Message spot. Yes, Captain. Don't bring me down, Captain. All aboard that's coming aboard. The freight train of truth is leaving MAGA station literally now. Train is leaving MAGA station. coming to you via Wing and a Prayer. I want to thank all of you that donated to the product equipment upgrade purchase there. Let's see, we're on broadcast day number 4 through Wing and a Prayer, and we have figured out some very nifty innovations and things that are already working to Maggie's advantage. And it's all about Maggie's happiness. So, if you wanted to really be happy, the October 29th crowdfunding needs your attention. I threatened yesterday to play Hillary Duff music if we didn't get some action through the donation at crusadechannel.com/donate. It's still on the table because there's been a shutout again today.
0.0.
Oh, Maggie's saying there was. Oh, somebody. Okay. None this hour. No. Okay. crusadechannel.com/donate. There will be a huge fundraiser for the 10th anniversary fund that we will begin next week. But we got to knock this one out. And Maggie needs a headphone tree. Mama needs a new pair of headphone tree shoes. So to get the headphone tree to hang on the corner of Wing and a Prayer, make your contribution today. It's tax deductible. We are a 501c3. The Crusade Radio Guild is now at crusadechannel.com/donate. Thank you very much in advance. Everyone go and donate now. Okay, Nick Fuentes did crack a funny by saying that, well, I know that Ben Shapiro's serious now because he did 40 minutes without an ad. Did a 40-minute show about me without an ad. Okay, that's funny. I want to go back to the subject matter. So the Drudge headlines. This is the other one that I did not get. I didn't click on that one. Hang on. This is the New York Times now. Opinion by Michelle Goldberg. I'm sure she's completely objective. Nick Fuentes was Charlie Kirk's bitter enemy. Now he's becoming his successor. Are they that scared? It's fascinating, is it not, that all of a sudden all these lefties are just sliming out of the proverbial woodwork with effusive praise of Charlie. All of a sudden, I mean, he literally is being canonized in the American canon of American political saints. Charlie Kirk, the conservative influencer who was assassinated in September, and Nick Fuentes, the young Hitler-loving white nationalist. At the center of a growing schism on the right were bitter enemies. Folks, they're trying to kill MAGA with this. Everyone sees this, right?
They're trying to fracture it.
This is an attempt to just drive a wedge in between anyone that was united behind Make America Great Again mantle. For whatever reason you were there, it doesn't matter. This is an attempt to make it the people that are losing, and they are losing. This is them using that powerful ally of theirs that they've always had in their back pocket, the media. And they're using it to their advantage to try and drive this wedge and try to make this a schism. You know, it's an insult to the integrity of you people, if you consider yourself a MAGA American. It is an insult to your integrity to imply that somehow you quietly wish for the good old days of Hitler. And that you wish for the good old days of white supremacy in the Sudetenland. And you wish for the good old days of Adolf and the boys firing up their ovens in the prison camps to get rid of inconvenient people. And you quietly wish for the days when there was no political opposition. I don't mind political opposition as long as you play fair. I don't mind it until you start rigging the game and then lying and cheating. And then it's not a fair game. You know, it's not fair when you have a football team that you have that you have as a favorite, that you're a fan of, if you will, and you're watching a game, and your team not only does it have to beat the opposition, but it has to beat 5 guys in white and black stripes. By the way, Moron, the Kami Mandani, and Mikey Sherrill are blaming the bomb threats on Trump. Yeah, because Trump did it in the White House bathroom with a Galaxy 22. And I'm not making this up. They are literally saying these bomb threats on our beloved state of New Jersey here. This is a result of the political rhetoric of Donald Trump. Trump is the cause of bomb threats now? Oh, that's a new one. And then this piece is if you're not familiar with Fuentes' ideology, he helpfully distilled it on his streaming show, America First. Jews are running society. Women need to shut up, he said. Blacks need to be in prison for the most part. Does this sound like a joke? That sounds like almost like a joke. The conservative writer Rod Dreher, a close friend of Vance, warned, I am told by someone in a position to know that something like 30 to 40% of D.C. GOP staffers under the age of 30 are groypers. Now you just throw hearsay up at the wall. Somebody said that 30 to 40%, that's a pretty big variance there. That 30 to 40% of millennial age staffers are Fuentes. I don't know. What do you call them? Fuentesites? Okay, so they call themselves groypers.
That's his peeps.
Okay, are groypers. You know, I'm going to ask Magdalene about this, but I think that there are some groyper-aged people. I don't know that they ever dare go into the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat, but you could. And I'm just wondering, are you a closet Hitler admirer? Do you wish for the good old days of Stalin lining up the Polish officer corps at Katyn and murdering 4,000 of them? That's what white guys who were communists, who were authoritarians, that's what they did. If you don't know about it, they made a movie about it. There's documentaries about it. Is this what we're pining away? I don't believe that. Now, when people say you'll keep your religion under your politics, well, let me tell you something. Look where that's got. Thank you, Maggie. Why am I going to get Maggie? You want to host this segment? Do you want to finish the segment? Because that's exactly what I was going to say. Look where that has gotten us. Now you have people that have to say that they're godless, basically. You keep your religion out of my politics. Oh, look how swimmingly good that's working out. There were men in Germany that opposed Hitler. They weren't a majority, and there wasn't much that they could do to stop the Third Reich, to stop Hitler, to stop Himmler, to stop all the Nazi bad guys. But they tried. You know, watch the Tom Cruise movie Valkyrie. And by the way, give Cruise props. He produced that movie, which means he basically raised the money to produce the film. Klaus von Stauffenberg, I believe, is up for canonization as a martyr. The movie follows the effort by Klaus von Stauffenberg and others in the German high command that were closet practicing Catholics. They did all that they could do to not out themselves, to try and obey orders as best they could, but not participate in the Nazi atrocities, all the while planning to take out the German high command. That's what the movie's about, Operation Valkyrie. Well, that's what Catholics that are in opposition to actual tyranny, that's kind of what you would expect it to look like. Catholics will not be running around pining away for the days of authoritarians like Hitler or Stalin. You would instead say you'd be pining for the days of Christ the King, because Christ is King. And when Christ is King in your politics, then, you could have the separation of churches there, then it would be there, but then you're dealing with a completely and totally different set. Just from the ground up, you have a different set of rules. Your rules of engagement would be completely different. Read Andrew Willard Jones's book, Before Church and State, and there are other books, great books that have been written on this subject here. It's a common misconception here, and I think instances like this just exacerbate it. You cannot call yourself a Christian and at the same time be a racist.
I was just going to say also, if we had God back in politics, we wouldn't have politicians running around texting about the murdering children of their opponents.
This is true. And if they did, then they would be called out for it, and they'd be, stay on. Plenty of this, and back to the New York Times piece, plenty of conservatives, especially Jewish ones, abhor Fuentes' growing clout by cheering on Donald Trump as he promoted conspiracy theories and systematically destroyed bulwarks against nativism and bigotry in the Republican Party. They helped make Fuentes' rise possible. So Trump is to blame for the rise of Fuentes, and Fuentes is the rise of an American Hitler. By the by, that is almost verbatim what Dreher wrote on his blog a couple of days ago. We read it to you about the rise of Weimar America. And and now again, this seems to me to be, here is Reaching Weimar America's Lost Boys. The previous one was Weimar America Slouches Toward Birth. Anyone with an eyeball can see what's going on here. This is an attempt now to kill the MAGA movement and the MAGA moment by making it a Nazi one for reals. And Fuentes, Nick, for whatever reason, Nick Fuentes is giving them the bait to do it. Now, I don't know that he's doing it on purpose, but he certainly is becoming now. And look, Nick, somebody will get this back to you. You can't beat these people. This is like capturing an actual unicorn. It's not going to happen. You can't beat these people. They're too powerful. They are too embedded, and they own. This is the reality. Charlie was coming the closest by simply asking the questions that he was asking. And I'm not even saying that Charlie was beating them or was going to beat them. That bird's kind of sailed now, isn't it? Gee, how convenient is that? We won't ever have to see whether or not TPUSA could have divorced from that arm of American idolatry of Israel, of all of the state of Israel, and the Likud party's actions. You'll never know. They took that chess piece off the board. Well, let me tell you something. These people don't lose. Look, this is a 100-year-long project. I wonder how close they are to getting Tucker. Last I checked when Tucker's ex, he had 18 million followers. Well, they pretty much got rid of Elon. Elon is no more. Elon was tweet something out on his own X platform. He get 60 million views. He tweets something now, he gets 5. He pretty much has dropped out and I guess decided that, I'm just going to shut up because if I say anything, I guess it wasn't being productive. And he owns the platform. I want people to understand this. Nick Fuentes, you will not have there will be no victory. There's no victory here. There is no path to victory. Again, the only path to victory here that is possible, because you say that you are a Catholic, the only path to victory that is possible that is in serving Christ the King. If you want to strike a blow against these or any other people that are enemies of Christ the King, well then pronounce them as enemies of Christ the King properly. But then you have to be an advocate of Christ the King. And from what I have seen, that's not happening. Now, maybe it can, but there is no victory in the cards here. Tucker can't beat these people. You can't beat them. Now, it's true, by divine intervention or by conversions to the faith, oh yeah, you can certainly winnow out their base and their support, which is that why Charlie had to be removed? Was it because he was a threat to the trannies? Or because he was a threat to someone else? Again, I'm not George Webb, and I'm not going to pronounce on that. This is what I do, because I genuinely don't know. Let me just say something really quick about Erica Kirk, because there are a lot of people that are bashing Erica now. She's doing this and she's doing that. You don't know what that woman's going through. That's number one. Number two, I saw her say something yesterday that I thought, well, that's wise. That is a great point. Somebody asked her, it might have been Jesse Waters, what do you think about the judge's decision, or that he's weighing the decision that there's not going to be any cameras in a courtroom of the trial of Tyler Robinson? And Erica Kirk fired back and went, let me tell you something, buddy. There were thousands of cameras at the University of Utah Valley State that day. The world watched my husband get his neck blown apart on live television through TV cameras. I think we can endure TV cameras in a courtroom on the trial of the man that did it. And I went, whoa, sister. And then Dreher's post today, reaching Weimar America's lost boys. I can't get this whole Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson thing out of my mind. Me being me, it seems to me that some high-level spiritual warfare is going on here. Yes, the enemy has found a way to put a dagger into part, or at least into the side. It may not hit a vital organ, but to put a dagger in the back of MAGA. Wherever there is hatred of Jews as Jews, understand the distinction I'm making here. I see the evil one at work. What about hatred of Christians as Christians? No one is talking about the committed Muslim Mandami. And as a committed Muslim and Islamic extremist, which he is committed to the hatred of what he calls the infidel. You want to talk about hating on people? What about the poor Christian saps in New York who, if this guy is elected mayor, are going to live in a deimitude state? They're basically going to live under a Sharia law king. Do you think that he's going to be showing up at the Al Smith dinner, toasting Timothy Cardinal Dolan and raising funds for Catholic charities on the island? You know, it seems that there's all this hatred to go around, but it's all only aimed, well, there are Islamophobes and there's anti-Semites. You know how many anti-Catholic bigots are running around out there that are in the pay of media and political, in the political game? There's more than enough hatred to go around. And there is a majority of it, or a huge portion of it, that is aimed at Christian people that never gets talked about. But you know what? We learned in the gospel reading for the 21st Sunday, this past 20th Sunday. We did 21st. 21st Sunday, we learned all about our Lord saying that, be of good heart and know that they will hate you for basically following me. And because of that, you're storing up treasure in heaven, so be of good cheer. In other words, the Christians go like, okay, well, I realize, I get that. But there's more than enough hatred of Catholics and Christians going around that never gets talked about. Oh, we haven't played any digital media files yet here today. Larry, why don't you play one? Let's do this one. Point number 5, David Boss Hogg. This ought to be interesting.
The entire reason the government is not open right now is because Democrats refuse to be complicit in having millions of Americans, including 100,000 in Kentucky, your home state, if I'm remembering correctly, Scott, that rely on ACA, that would see their premiums rise several
which you can deal with
percent.
Separately. It doesn't have to be, those two things do not go together.
But the way that they're doing this right now, they're combining both.
Voting to support the budget still doesn't, if you keeping it closed doesn't fix the ACA. The ACA needs to be reformed. Healthcare needs to be reformed. This is a way bigger question.
You guys failed at that last time. The whole thing was repeal and replace. You had a trifecta. You tried this. You failed.
David, that's not true. They're still in the concept of a plan stage.
No, in terms of
they've been in the
repealing
concept stage since 2000.
But David, you would admit that the ACA was a Democrat legislation, yes? And you would admit that the subsidies that we're talking about now were passed by Democrats, yes? And you would admit that the sunset provision in the subsidies, which comes up at the end of the year, was in place because of Democrats, yes? Now you want to make it a Republican problem. These are not the same issues. You could open the government today, and then you could negotiate with with Republicans about ACA. And by the way, my suspicion is, and you know this, there are probably, and I know there are some House Republicans that would love to negotiate on it, but under duress, under a hostage-taking situation, connecting disconnected issues, and now you're throwing SNAP onto it, you're throwing all the federal workers who aren't being paid onto it, all because of this fight that you wandered into because of your wing of the Democratic Party. You all led to this SNAP crisis. You all led to this crisis of the government being closed, and you don't know how to get out of it.
Republicans created Obamacare, and they're the ones that funded it. Oh, really? Is that where you want to be when Jesus comes back? Is that really what you want to say? Yeah, this is all these people are going to do without their health care. Interestingly enough, Obamacare was implemented to lower the cost of what they call health care. How's that working out for you?
You may not believe it, but Bram Stoker's Dracula may be a work of non-fiction.
What? That's scarier than getting stuck in an elevator with Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, good grief. Really? Come on, I'm trying to be serious here. Okay. Hear it and other amazing tales on Turley's Believe It or Else, 10 to 11 a.m. Central, every Tuesday on the Crusade Channel. Our app and always on crusadechannel.com. Live talk and podcast radio.
The way it should be.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025. This report is brought to you by Mike Church's Beast and Butt Rub, a rub that's won championships and will help make you a champ in your kitchen or backyard. Check out Mike's recipes and pick up a bottle or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. In the market report, the Dow closed down 0.48%, the S&P was up a little, 0.17%, NASDAQ was up 0.46%. In National Day calendar news, it was in the year 1845 that Election Day was moved to the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. It's also the day that a lighthouse was built in Alcatraz in 1854. In 1952, the National Security Agency, or NSA, was established. In 1980, Ronald Reagan became the 40th President of the United States. Today is National Chicken Lady Day, and it's National Candy Day. In the late 13th century, Middle English first began using the word candy. Originally a form of medicine, candy calmed the digestive system or cooled a sore throat. At that time, it was combined with spices and sugar, and candy only appeared in the purses and dishes of the wealthy. Our quote of the day, if you are what you should be, you will set the whole world ablaze. St. Catherine of Siena. Our saint of the day is St. Charles Borromeo. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Okay, please enter the 9-digit two-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez. What do you mean, prove I'm human? Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car. Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana 70447. On August 4th, the Crusade Channel will launch Crusade Channel 4.0, and you'll see why.
What in the world?
Sorry, I was hanging up the new Mike Church 4.0 sign. 4.0? When did they even have a 3.0? Am I missing something here?
Buckle up, Speed Demon, because you'll soon discover why Crusade Channel 4.0 roars like the muscle car of media. Rooming past the competition with zero emissions of boredom exclusively on CrusadeChannel.com.
Hey, Mrs. McGillicuddy, don't be a satellite radio snob and pass by the Mike Church Show. Come on in and browse.
May I help you?
Oh, no thanks, sir. Just browsing.
How long do you intend to browse?
Well, that lady there. You didn't ask her how long she intends to browse. How come you're asking us how long we intend to browse?
You don't look like browsers.
Now that that's over,
How about a Fresca?
the Mike Church Show, entertaining browsers and fans since 1992 on the Veritas Radio Networks. Crusade.
I wondered this Thursday night if anyone could name this tune. KingDude, I can name that tune in 35 notes. 35 notes. Now somebody's going, oh, I get it.
My soul. Hey, did boogie do? Did ya? Hey,
The longest running long form continual radio broadcast on air anywhere in the world. Mike Church Show is 34 years young. Help us make it to 35. Get yourself a 10th anniversary Crusade Channel limited edition t-shirt or button down red cap work shirt at shop.mikechurch.com. Reserve yours today, please, pretty please. And we will get our first order, I believe, next Monday. The limited edition here. I'm also happy to sign those for you if you'd want me to. But you got to get the shirt first, and then the seasoning, and then the cigars, and then shop for some books, and then take a rosary off of Maggie's hand. Same store, shop.mikechurch.com. That's shop.mikechurch.com. Sizes small through 4X Fat Bastard available. 10th anniversary Crusade Channel commemorative limited edition. With it's cool too, cool looking design. Has all the shows that have graced the Crusade Channel airwaves over the course of the 10 years. All right, election day today. Virginia and New Jersey governor's race, the mayor's race in New York City, of course, everyone knows. And at the end of the day, they all come down to turnout. So, what is the turnout in New Teanock, Teatland City? By the by, and I don't need to say this, I shouldn't need to say this, just because you oppose Moron Zoran, the not magnificent Kami Mandani, and you want him to lose, does not mean you want Andrew Cuomo to win. Maybe I'd pick, if I was in New York, I'd vote for Curtis Sliwa. If I had to, I mean, if I was there, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go for Curtis Sliwa. Opposing Mandami, though, does not automatically put you in the pro-Cuomo criminal camp. Now, he is this is a political dynasty in this state. You know, his dad, Mario Cuomo, I'm not breaking any news here, was governor, I think. I want to say that Mario Cuomo, I think he was in Congress at one time. In any event, that there's a very powerful political family there. And I'm sure in all their crookedness that there would be a marked improvement in crookedness over the Sharia law madness of a Kami Mandani. As a matter of fact, you want to hear what Mandani's plan is? Maggie, play digital media file number 7. No, that's not the one. We want number 8. 8's the one where, okay, elect me so we can raise $11 billion in revenue, or $10 billion in revenue. How are you going to do that? Again, are you going to have a Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethon here, and all the rich people are going to ring the phones off the hook, and Ed McMahon's going to come out and dance across the stage and what have you here? No. Where do you hear? Here's the plan.
I proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city, because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in 2 key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. Mm-hmm. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
They don't make the people's lives better who were going to spend that $11 billion in corporate tax, and we're probably going to, I don't know, maybe hire a couple of people. I don't know, maybe some of that trickles down into the people that actually work at the corporations. This is madness. You're talking about actually just theft. Straight up. Well, you know, the state of New Jersey robs these corporations. And by the way, if you do business in New York, you're going to pay it. No, I'm not. I will go into my Founders Trading Post store and I will remove New York as a state to ship to, punk. And watch how fast other people go. Like, you know, here's an abject lesson in this. How many of you remember when Amazon's principal distribution center and corporate HQ was in Colorado? This is back in 2012, 11, somewhere like back there. What did the state of Colorado do? State of Colorado passed the first internet sales tax. This is why I make no dollars, because I didn't get paid last week because nobody made a contribution. By the way, Hillary Duff is queued up. We don't get some contributions this segment. Well, you know, it's almost time to end the program already. I'll say hi to Magdalene. Put, which is the song? It's the album Fly. I'll put the Hillary Duff album Fly on, and we'll just call it a day. But let me finish the story before we crusadechannel.com/donate. State of Colorado went like, I know how we can get a couple of $1 billion a year and fund all of our left-wing socialist pipe dreams. Let's pass an internet sales tax. Amazon is headquartered here and ships most of its stuff out of their Colorado warehouses, and their corporate headquarters are here. So we will tax internet sales. And they thought that Amazon was going to pay them about $5 billion a year in taxes, in internet sales taxes. You know what Amazon, you know what Bezos did? You know what Bezos did? He fired, first of all, he moved the HQ. It's not in Colorado anymore. That's the first thing. Second thing, he fired, or he just sent letters to every mom and pop app operation that was headquartered in Colorado and selling out across the internet through Amazon. He told them all, you're fired. You can't sell through Amazon anymore. So, you know how much sales tax Amazon paid that year to the state of Colorado?
0.0.
None. They didn't get a penny. And then, of course, he moved the HQ, and he basically told the state, I forgot, did he move to Kentucky? He basically went shopping legislatures and go like, if I move my HQ, I'll do it, but you have to swear that you're not going to tax me. Okay. In any event.
Washington and Virginia.
Okay, Washington State and Virginia. Amazon went, yeah, watch this. You think you're going to attack? You think that's going to happen? Not going to happen. Well, there goes the phone. That's it. The crash that you just heard was the phone. Does it work? Not supposed to be there.
It's been here. This computer got.
I didn't touch it. No. You got a dial tone?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, must be made out of some good material. The point being that the state of Colorado screwed up, and they chased the business out, and the lesson was not learned. This Mondani creep, you really think that people are just going to keep shipping stuff into New York and they're going to pay? You know, first thing is going to happen is the attorneys general and other states are going to sue you. You're going to get sued. And the attorneys general in other states say, that's interstate commerce. You can't tax it. Now, there is a case to be made because Apple does this. Now, but Apple collects sales taxes on behalf of the state of Louisiana, for example. But it's one specific state sales tax. And there are people that won't buy from the Apple store because you basically, you're shopping for a tax break. So that's just a stupid idea. That's not going to happen. Play digital media file before Maggie call or Magdalene calls. Number 10. This is Jesse Waters with Erica Kirk asking, do you feel safe? And speaking of course it happens. Of course it happens. And buying things online, and when you're shopping for tax rates, this is like Ronald Reagan used to say, vote with your feet. You don't like the politics where you are, you try to change them, you can't, or getting worse and worse. Well, then vote with your feet, you leave. You move here. But the idea that Zoran, Moron, the not magnificent, is going to raise $11 billion and people in other states are going to pay for it? No, you try to move your corporation to Florida and you sell back in. What he's talking about is you move your headquarters, but say, you're the paper supplier for whatever company, and it's still, you're shipping it into New York, that they're going to tax it. People are going to avoid that. You can pie in the sky dream about that all you want. Hateful Hochul, Satan's apostle. Notice that he already knows that he can't raise the revenue through the state like he said he was going to do, because Hochul, surprise, surprise, told him that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. All right, number 10.
Do you feel safe?
What are they going to threaten me with? Going to heaven sooner to be with my husband? And I don't say that to be reckless. I do not. I do not say that because I'm out in the streets like, here I am, come find me. And it's not at all. It's a fearlessness that's rooted in the understanding that I will have my day and my time, whenever that is. When the Lord knows that I've completed my mission. And I'm not afraid. Charlie wasn't afraid either. We never lived in fear. If we did, we wouldn't get anything done.
So, and then there is... All right, this is funny. Number 11. Say, what happened between you, Scott Bessent, and Elon?
I mean, you walk around the White House and everybody moves back. What, you got into a beef with Musk? What did you do to him? What did you do to Elon?
Elon and I are both very passionate. I think that what he did with Doge has set a very good trend in terms of cutting government expenses, that we were able to... You didn't
grab Elon by the collar, did you? You would never do such a thing.
Well,
the Secretary of Treasury.
Elon wears T-shirts, so there is no collar. There is no collar.
All right. There is a court case today. The President of the United States being sued by some unnamed or whatever Democrat group are saying that his emergency tariffs, that he can't set tariffs. What is the point? The Democrats have taken all the fun out of winning elections. Church's maxim number 81, even when Democrats lose, they don't actually lose. They lost, they are losing, and they are losers. The who is hers. And yet here they are in court now stopping tariffs. Where does the revenue from a tariff go? It doesn't go into Trump International. It goes where? It goes to the it goes to the Treasury. It goes to the Treasury Department. You can hope that it is used for things other than funding foreign wars and other military extravagances, like paying the debt down. And I don't know that maybe it won't, but it goes into the Treasury. It should have always been going into the Treasury. Smart people would be asking the question, well, who stopped it? Domestic enemies of your and my domestic success. Domestic tranquility, if you will. So, Waters X's, and what are you going to do about these tariffs? And what are you going to do about the SCOTUS ruling on these tariffs? That's number 12. You had the right one.
You didn't give me a number yet.
Well, how many more options do we have with Scott Bessent? Okay.
Well, I don't think they're going to. I'm actually going to go and sit hopefully in the front row and listen, have a ringside seat. And Jesse, this is a matter of national security. If President Trump had not had the IEEPA, which is an emergency tariff authority, back in the spring, he put IEEPA tariffs on China. And last week in in Korea, the Chinese agreed to start working to bring down the precursors for fentanyl. If fentanyl is not a national emergency, what is? China, on October 8th, threatened to curtail rare earths to the entire world. President Trump threatened to put on 100% tariffs and protected our national security using the IEEPA power. And then finally, these big trade deficits we've had for years in economics, there's something called a tipping point. And we were at the tipping point. Fortunately, President Trump came in, he put on the tariffs, he is rebalancing global trade and in favor of the U.S., and he has prevented an economic crisis.
So the media.
That was a minute 52?
Oh, he talks now.
Oh, okay.
With the rest of Jesse Waters?
Yeah, no. I thought there was more percent. In any event, the case is in front of the SCOTUS today on tariffs. Some of this stuff you just can't believe that it makes it all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, and that the SCOTUS has actually got to step in and go, wait a minute, we've already ruled on this crap. We've already ruled on this. As I said the other day, you have judges that are making decisions now on things that are obviously that belong to either they belong to the executive or they belong to the legislative branch. Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor here. Well, it's election day. How do we see Virginia, New Jersey, and more on the commie Mondani in New York?
I think that we're going to lose the governorship in Virginia. I think that Winsome Sears is the wrong candidate. Abigail Spanberger, I remember from when I lived in Virginia for several years, she has spent a lifetime preparing for this. And Democrats then, 5 years ago, were talking about her like she was the future. New Jersey is a toss-up for me. It's competitive. I think we've run the best campaign we have there in decades. And New York, Mamdani, unfortunately, I believe will win.
You think Mondani wins straight up today? He gets 51% of the vote.
I think so, because he has energy on his side. And Democrats, when they have a high energy factor in their voting, they tend to get over the threshold. I don't think that Cuomo and Siwa are as obstructing as they could. If Curtis Siwa had dropped out 2 weeks ago, Mamdani wouldn't have a clear win.
Interesting. I think because it's a three-way race that there is enough to siphon off. I haven't seen a single poll that put Mondani over 46%, 45%. He's got to get to 50% of the vote plus one. We'll see. What about New Jersey?
I think New Jersey is going to be competitive, and it's going to be very tight. The thing that's good about New Jersey is that New Jersey race has focused not on national politics, but on local issues. There is a housing crisis in New Jersey. Jersey City used to be a place where it was affordable to live, that it was close enough to the different train systems you could get to New York. It's become so congested, it's impossible to find a place to live there for under $4,000. So these are the types of issues that we're focused on in the New Jersey races. To me, that gives us a much better way. In comparison, in Virginia, Winsome Sears is focused almost exclusively on national issues. He has not brought in people who helped Glenn Youngkin when he ran. It's been very messy. I wish we had run anybody else.
All right, Maggie, can you play? This is just funny. This is digital media file number 15. This happened yesterday on The View. Apparently, ABC is still horrified of Trump and Trump's lawyers because they are still getting, what do they call the notes when they get passed on?
It's a legal...
It's not legal notices.
It's a legal correction.
They're still getting corrections from the legal department going, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. You got to take that back. Watch.
The Trump family has made about $1.8 billion profited off of this government. And he said that Joe Biden didn't know who he was pardoning using an auto pen. How come he don't know who this guy is?
Because he used an auto pen. Meetings with the judge, the meetings that they're supposed to go to when they're listening to what the hell, what?
I love when Sonny passes notes.
We don't know if Trump used an auto pen to part. It was a joke.
Yes. We don't know if Trump used an auto pen to part.
Come on.
But we do know that he didn't know who that crypto guy was.
Well, I'm sorry. You know, the hardest thing about this job now is no one understands nuance. You know when you hear a joke, when somebody's fooling around, when they're not saying something specific, especially on this show. I'm very specific when I'm pointing stuff out. When I'm making jokes, you know when I'm making jokes. This is ridiculous.
Well, you're not funny anymore.
The other thing
Well, maybe if you were still funny, people would know that you were cracking a joke.
Wouldn't have to say.
Well, then you wouldn't have to say, well, this is a joke. You're not funny anymore.
Insert laugh here.
If you didn't have a live audience with a laugh track going like, no, guys, laugh now. That show is not funny. She isn't funny anymore. But it is funny that the legal department is passing handwritten notes from a producer going like, yeah, you can't say that. Yeah, you can't say that. I think the funniest thing is, how do we know that Trump didn't use an auto pen? Well, I've actually heard Trump say that he does use an auto pen. When he has 8,000 letters that have to go out to the Boy Scouts of America who have all written him and he can't sign them all, then he uses the auto pen. But he doesn't use the auto pen for the conducting of any actual business like pardons and like executive orders. So it's just, that's so stupid.
It is very stupid, and it's ridiculous because a lot of what the criticism about Trump is that he's too involved. So to say that he's utilizing the auto pen is ridiculous. And I think ABC has finally learned its lesson overall, because ABC has dealt with some hard blows in recent years. The FCC controller and then Russell Vought, Stephen Miller, those guys, they have it out for ABC. And they will use whatever they need to in order to get them to yield. There's going to be fairness on cable news. There's going to be fairness on the networks if the Trump administration has to take every dime from them to do it.
And then finally today we have round 6 now of the round 6 of Shapiro and the Israel Firsters versus Nick Fuentes. It is now escalated here, and I believe that this is a movement to try and drive a ginormous wedge into and in between MAGA people here. They're now, I think that what the move is here is to cancel Tucker and to use Fuentes to do it. And as I said earlier, if anyone from Fuentes' group or friends of his or whatever are listening, let me give you some sagacious advice that you didn't ask for, but if I were you, I would take it. There is no victory in this. You're not going to win. The forces that you're messing with here are far too heels are dug in, they have poured cement footings around them, and they're not going anywhere. The only actual threat to them that had any chance of success is the one that Charlie Kirk was kinda, but not really leading, and that is young people saying that we don't want our future tied to the military adventures of a foreign land. We're not willing to fund it, and we're not willing to fight in your wars. And we don't care that you call yourself Israel, and that supposedly we Christians have to do this, because we reject that. So that is an inroad, and that is a pushback that was happening. Charlie Kirk was beginning to go. It seemed like he was heading in that direction, or he was advocating in that direction. That's genuine. That's groundswell. That's organic. And they were terrified and are terrified of it. So I think to try to at least stop the bleeding, or maybe turn the people in your generation and your age back to where they were before Charlie started raising the alarm bell or whatever, that this is the effort here. And they're trying to take Tucker out through Fuentes to do it.
Well, they are. And to be quite honest, I don't think Ben Shapiro is particularly compelling in any of these responses. I've watched them. I don't see it as a standout moment. I don't see any of it going viral. It's not trending. It only trends if Fuentes comments on it. If that's not the marker of a big problem in communications, I don't know what is. And in addition to that, there's a lot of reports that the Daily Wire is having massive funding problems, that they've taken on too many shows, it's too bloated, they've been shutting down departments. Brett Cooper, who used to work there, has spoken about this. Daily Wire, about 3 years ago, brought on a lot of things, and they tried to become a behemoth, and they don't have the money to match it. So I think in a lot of ways, talking about Fuentes also gives them some revenue in terms of ads, in terms of clicks, but it's not enough to justify this kind of response. If Ben Shapiro is genuinely upset, which I believe he is, he needs to confront Fuentes head to head, have a debate, have a forum, have a conversation. But these lengthy video statements, they kind of just look like he's just professionally upset by him.
Well, and this is what Fox, and they learned all this from Fox News. They are shooting, this is literally shooting fish in a barrel. This is an echo chamber. The people that are all, we're rallying now around Shapiro, we're rallying around this, and Tucker must go, and Fuentes must. Tucker must be destroyed. He gave rise to this, and Fuentes must be canceled, and whatever else it is that they are attempting to do. Again, the people that you are rallying to your support that have all of these media connections, they have always been there. This is, you're not winning any hearts and minds. If anything, you're pissing more people off because you're digging your heels, and it goes, darn it, you people are going to support Likudism, and you're going to support and swear your allegiance to Netanyahu, or we're going to call you names and ruin you. That's really the threat.
That is the threat. And one of the things is that Tucker Carlson is being blamed for sort of platforming Nick Fuentes. That's not what happened here. Charlie Kirk spent 6 years, that he admits to, suppressing Nick Fuentes. He had a concentrated media effort to the point where Fuentes would book interviews and then they would get pulled because Kirk would tell someone not to interview him. Fuentes...
Wait a minute, I've heard this story before.
Yes.
Yeah, wait a minute.
What happened? This is what went on. And Charlie Kirk, being assassinated, did two things. It removed that media blockade, sort of, no way am I going to interview Fuentes. And also it radicalized a lot of people who were on the fence, who were Republicans, who were sort of in the middle. So Fuentes is a product, in a lot of ways, of Charlie Kirk's suppression. If you look at early Fuentes content and now, and he'll even say this, the more he was suppressed, the more extreme he got. So if you're upset with Tucker Carlson, the blame is not necessarily on Tucker Carlson.
Okay, so Rod Dreher, for his part, says, understand, too, that the bigger problem here is that Tucker Carlson greatly magnifying Fuentes' presence and credibility with that 2-hour-long tongue bath interview. Now, I have to stop right here. I had an old program director way back in the 1990s. I'll even tell you his name. His name is Harry Valentine. He was from Detroit, and he had that thick Detroit accent there where the K's are all influence. And Harry Valentine, in one of the first interviews for a job as a nighttime host on WEZB 97 FM, 97.1, the Howard Stern station in New Orleans, in my interview with Harry, Harry asked me, well, Mike, tell me about how you intend to get phone calls. And I gave him whatever spiel it was, and I used the word credibility. And I said that, well, I will get calls on your station because your station has credibility. And Harry Valentine fired back at me, and he goes, I'm going to teach you that, to never say that again. That's not correct. And he goes, you don't have credibility because you're on my radio station. My radio station has credibility because you're good. You're the right man for the job, and you are credible. You are credible. Tucker can't make Fuentes credible. He can't. It'd be like saying that unless he starts doing Fuentes live ads during the interviews, and I endorse Nick Fuentes and Fuentesism here, and I want you to join me and Nick. It's Nick and me. It's a new show here. It's a new thing. Everyone's Nick and me. You don't get credibility out of an interview. You get visibility. The only way Fuentes gets credibility if people watch the interview and find him credible. Yes?
Well, that's true. And that's kind of been Nick's point the whole time. He's saying, I'm not partnering with anybody. I think he would say that he's most aligned with Alex Jones in terms of mutual media exposure. He's on InfoWars a lot now. He wasn't prior to Kirk's assassination. So when you look at the sort of verification of Nick Fuentes is going to be the number one everywhere, that's not what's happening. Charlie Kirk starved the world of Nick Fuentes. And then he was assassinated by an alleged left-wing extremist. So what has occurred from that is people want to know in the conservative world, first of all, why this kid was never allowed to talk to anybody. And second of all, if we should be taking more hardline views because one of our leaders was killed. And that is it's a very dangerous situation. I understand Ben Shapiro's upsetment over statements, but Ben Shapiro was not being effective by sitting in the studio at the Daily Wire giving out lists of bad things Nick Fuentes has said, because for every bad thing Nick Fuentes has said, someone's going to go find something they agree with. I'm surprised at the sort of naiveness of Ben Shapiro's strategy here.
Well, Shapiro's strategy is obvious. Look at what Knowles and look at what Walsh did yesterday under that video. Did you see it?
I did not.
We just go to my Twitter. You'll see it on my Twitter because I reposted it. I said this is the Shapiro strategy here. We can now see that it has been revealed, and here is, and the plan is that the Ben-Father strategy revealed: corral all the Catholic broadcast talent under one roof, then dispatch them to inform the Cro-Magnon masses that Zionism doesn't exist. And even if it does, it isn't an issue that Americans should be concerned about. He posts that video. One of the first two responses is Matt Walsh going like, yeah, I wish we'd all talk more about American stuff and Americanism and American things and American stuff. And then Knowles comes on and goes, yeah, I don't know why everybody has to upset over New Jersey, the Middle East, and we need to talk more about America this and America that. Well, then do it. Shut up and do it then. By their actions, you shall know them. This is, if you were actually doing this, well, then all of your followers and what have you will then follow suit. This is a marching order to broadcast media people that Shapiro is going to take you out. Shapiro and Levin and this gang are going to take you out if you don't get in line. This is a threat, and he's using it. This is a scandal. And for Walsh and Knowles, I mean, that must be one hell of a paycheck that they're getting and one hell of an ironclad contract. For Walsh and Knowles to participate in this,
I know.
This is the worst kind. And folks, you can see right through it. This is fake as fake comes. This is the worst kind of jingoism. That's all. But this is jingoism for hire. In other words, I can hire Catholics to agree with me. This is the control that Milo Yiannopoulos, of all people, Milo, called it out. Well, so did I.
Well, he did. But he knows these people. He knows the inner work. I mean, nobody I'm somebody who would never want to be attacked by Milo, because the depravity he'll go into, the stuff he'll do. Even if you're the cleanest person there is in politics, he'll find something. And it could be a rude word you said as like a high school sophomore. He will find it. And when he talked about the conglomerate of the Daily Wire and the sort of bad idea of what to do and what to find there, it was a big problem. And he talked about the fact that Ben Shapiro was putting Catholic media people under ironclad contracts in order to sort of take over the Catholic media space. Shapiro, about 5 years ago, realized that Catholics, and specifically traditional Catholics, were becoming a dominant force. Unlike other people, he brought them in. So now people who should be agreeing with Nick Fuentes, or at least platforming him, or not calling for his censorship, are the biggest defenders against him. It's a very twisted thing he did, but it was very smart to do it for him.
Well, and then, of course, you have your usual suspects like David Frum. Dreher quotes David Frum. The good news is that many conservative voices, including party leaders, have been raised in condemnation of Fuentes and Carlson and what they represent. Frum is a never-Trumper, but he makes an important... David Frum does not make any important points, Rod. David Frum is a neocon, never-Trump hack. Nobody reads him. Nobody listens to him. He is in the pay or people that work for you-know-who. It's as simple as that. And everybody knows it. And I'm fine with it. I know it. I'll tell anyone. I don't think anyone is reading David. Do you know anyone that reads David Frum for political directions or advice?
No.
I don't either. I couldn't even tell you where you can. Do you know where you could read him at today?
I do not.
Neither do I. I can't answer the question. That's how important he is. And then there is. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I would just say this as well with the Daily Wire and this sort of conglomerate he's built. Ben Shapiro has tried many times to hire a variety of young Catholic influencers who either are more traditional or right-wing, and they've not been willing to be hired by him. So this media apparatus, like Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh, I don't feel great about them sometimes because I know of people that Ben Shapiro has approached and they haven't taken the deal and they've been successful regardless. So it's kind of like, why are these two guys so willing to go along with this?
Okay, and then there is not only are they trying to take Tucker out, these people are like trying to knock the Heritage Foundation down a peg. The flippin' Heritage Foundation. You know that the Heritage Foundation dates back to, I want to say the 1970s. The Heritage Foundation is probably the most recognizable, quote, conservative, close quote, think tank in the world. It's also the most successful. Clarence Thomas gives talks to the Heritage Foundation. Antonin Scalia gave talks to the Heritage Foundation. Judge Alito gives talks to the Heritage Foundation. There are people that you and I very much agree with that are board members and contribute to the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage isn't right on everything. None of them are. But the idea here now that the Kevin Roberts, because he said that, if Tucker wants to interview Nick Fuentes, he can interview Nick Fuentes. And we shouldn't have any problem with that. Watch the interview, don't like it, and leave a comment saying that you don't. Tell everyone else what you don't like about it and move on. They're the ones that are making a big deal about it. But look at what's happening here. Look at the attempt not only to remove Tucker, now you have David Limbaugh. You have David Limbaugh. And others who are now, Heritage must also pay. The Heritage Foundation? I'm pretty sure that Heritage isn't going anywhere, but you might be.
And they'll go after the Federalist Society next, and it will expand and expand, and it'll grow into being, if you don't agree with everything we agree with, we're going to get rid of you. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous point of view. The conservatives are doing this. Republicans have put in purity tests in this way. Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes didn't get up and call for the death of political leaders. They had conversations, and I don't agree with many parts of them, but they were conversations. Neither one of them participate in political violence. I mean, the idea that we're canceling them is kind of ridiculous in terms of now canceling anyone that doesn't hate them. And I think people like Mark Levin are one of the major proponents of this, because Mark Levin is freely admitting that he is pressuring organizations, individuals, funding groups to cut ties with anybody who won't even just not platform these people, but won't disavow them. So Mark Levin is a problem within conservative media, and he is sowing infighting at a level I haven't seen since the Lincoln Project.
Somebody points out on X.com, as Maggie puts in the chat room, maybe we should have listened to Shapiro in the past. No to voting for Trump. He was an ever-Trumper. No to opposing the death jab, the COVID vaccine. Remember that? Shapiro was that. Everybody, to remain safe. Everybody needs a mask. Yeah, you need to social distancing. You need to listen to the CDC. You need to listen to the smart people in the health department there. And when the jab came, when the vaccine came, if you're working for the Daily Wire, everyone has to you have to get vaccinated. Everyone, you're just a fool. You're just you're a health risk running around. We don't want you in conservative circles if you're not vaccinated. Remember that? Remember Shapiro saying you don't belong in conservatism if you're not vaccinated? What about no to caring about the browning of America? Oh, no, that wasn't happening. No to opposing the war in Ukraine. We must defend the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are the greatest country in the world. You're up against the great Russian mayor. And Russia's terrible. Russia's awful. Putin is a dictator. Putin's an anti-Semite. Shapiro hasn't been right about anything. Shapiro, as I pointed out earlier, Shapiro is a pro-abort. He's a pro-contraception, he's a pro-tranny, he's a pro-homo. There is no social policy that any of you listening agree with Benjamin Shapiro on. The only thing that puts him in, quote, conservative, close quote, orbit is that he does have a small little libertarian streak in him. And he took that libertarianism to college campuses, kind of like Charlie did. And he did get in some of those little debates with those little stupid people over taxes and whether or not the government should be taxing and taking your money. These were all little L libertarian talking points. You don't have anything in common. The average MAGA conservative doesn't have anything in common with this guy anymore. So my view is you ignore this. You ignore this. You know, Fox News thought that when they got rid of Tucker that he was just going to go away. Well, you know, as I've been told my entire career, people go where the talent goes, for the most part. People aren't going to stop watching Tucker's interviews. They're going to go back now and probably watch more of them. The only person that I think that is, and I don't know what the latest status is, but I haven't heard Candace Owens on all this. Has she said anything?
She tweeted underneath his...
Well, she hates Nick Fuentes. They're in a feud, and their feud is so widespread we don't even know what the origin of the feud was anymore. I think some of it has to do with the fact that Fuentes thinks that her husband is engaged in all sorts of shady things with Republican money, but they're in a full-blown feud. So Candace is in a weird position of she agrees with Fuentes on the vast majority of things, including the things that get him in trouble. She definitely agrees with Tucker, but her personal hatred for Nick Fuentes is so massive, she will literally hope for his downfall rather than throwing any support his way or Tucker's way.
She says, I feel on an editorial point, it was completely unnecessary to include me in this anti-Tucker rant. Alas, I shall have to respond.
Yeah.
So that's what she said.
She'll only talk about the Tucker side. I mean, she and Fuentes, I think, had legal action against each other at one point. Like, she was suing him for defamation. He was suing her for defamation. It got really nasty, and nothing came from it. It's like one of those endless political battles.
And it's interesting that there is an internecine war in the MAGA tent.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder how that happened. I wonder who is the author of Internecine Wars in the MAGA tent.
I have my suspicions about who that is.
Well, no, I mean just in general, the author of Internecine Wars in the MAGA tent. If you are truly trying to make America great again, which would mean to make it Christian, I don't know, you can make it Christian again, but you could make it Christian. Well, of course, the devil is the enemy of all. You could see the smoke of Satan all around all this stuff here. And when you're talking about the Likudists and the Likud party, and they're and this never-ending conflict that supposedly was over, and now all of it. Well, no, it's revived itself all of a sudden. No, they revived it. They tried to revive it. So at the end of the day, again, you have, because you don't have you don't have an appreciation amongst enough people for the kind of dialogue that you the healthy dialogue that you need to have. Everything is now cut up into 15, 20, 1 minute and 10 second long sound bites. I mean, I literally think you could have a nervous breakdown if you spent all your days on X. I think you would lose your mind. You would lose your sanity. Well, first of all, there's no way, if you follow a substantial amount of people, that you could follow all of them, that you could follow any train of thought. Because you would be distracted by this and distracted by that, and you go, like, oh, wait a minute, who is this person, and why are they interjecting this? It's interesting to me that one of the people that it seems as though that he has fled in some ways his own platform is Elon.
Yeah.
He's not there. I mean, he is, but not like he was 6 months ago or 7 months ago. Go back to January of last year or during the campaign. And the dude, I was wondering, how in the world does he run SpaceX and I guess he's running X and do all that he was doing on X, which he doesn't do anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I wondered that as well. And I think that it's very sad what happened with the Elon partnership because we were having great success. The folding of USAID is massive. Like, I don't even think people understand how much money Democrats were funneling to various projects. But what happened always happens. The Republican Party burned him out. The nastiness, the lies, the inability to unify. And it got to a point where I think Elon realized that this was not sustainable for him. And it was very sad because the partnership between Trump and Elon, I thought, was one of the first times Trump had a real equal as a partner in terms of his desire for radical change. And Elon had that thing in his bio that said the people voted for major government reform. They did. I don't know if we've gotten major government reform. I think we've gotten change. We've gotten a much better presidency. We're safer. But major reform on a domestic level has not been achieved. And I don't think it's a coincidence that that's what Elon was a part of achieving. And when he left, that focus shifted dramatically, and we focused on international affairs. I hope that we refocus on it, but I'm not surprised by the switch up.
And then finally, just on the appeal of Nick Fuentes, this guy's name is Constantine Cassine, and he's supposedly a British commentator and podcaster, and he has a piece that he wrote about what's going on here. He says this entire phenomenon, and he's talking about what makes Fuentes popular, is driven by a number of factors which are affecting young men. They are the most fatherless generation in history, having less male guidance and direction than any group of men in American history. Even the boys born after World War II, the most murderous war in human history, which killed over 400,000 American men. They have been raised in a time of economic stress and political instability. They were educated in a school and college system which is overwhelmingly female. The feminization of society and the absence of fathers meant that young men have not been taught to channel their natural masculine instincts, but rather to suppress them. And then finally, as they have struggled, they've been raised in left-wing popular culture that has blamed white men for all the ills of the world. I will just add one other factor that was supplied by white people, primarily in the United States, but in English-speaking worlds, in English-speaking countries, was online pornography. It is undeniable, and I've talked about this before, and probably the only person that talks about it from this point of view. Online pornography paved the way for online retailing. Everything that is done online was, at one point in time today, was not done online. You take it for granted. You think that all these things, that were just payment portals and payment windows and this transaction, and then, put your bank account online and and everything else. Once upon a time, it wasn't that way, and people were terrified of it. So somebody had to go first. Somebody had to go like, no, it's okay. You can make it secure. You can do this and that and the other. Who was it that did this? Somebody wrote a book about this, actually, about 20 years ago. You know who was it that did this? The porn companies. Pornhub and the porn pimps. Guess where most of the porn originates? Israel.
I don't know. Yes, yeah.
Israel. This is the root of the online rot. So the undermining of young men is pornography. The most poisonous, the most destructive thing you could ever possibly have done would be to have them raised with a steady diet of porn. Everyone knows what that leads to, and it doesn't lead to making babies. It leads to a sort of ersatz religion. If it becomes, it then becomes a culture, then becomes a way of life. Children and wives do not figure into this. Neither do jobs. You just need to make enough, to keep the porn coming here. So this is a curse that has been visited upon the West, and yes, originated, I'm sorry to say, you can look it up, and you can call me an anti-Semite if you want, but I believe this is a demonstrable fact. It originated, as did the payment portal ID and development, in Israel. That's just true. Yeah, but they didn't mean to, I don't know who comes up with the idea for online pornography or for the mass distribution of pornography in general and loves the human race. I'm sorry. I just don't buy it. That's just, I don't believe it. So the Kassin guy says this perfect storm of alienation and the dearth of male guidance presents a lucrative opportunity for a new breed of influencer. Unlike fathers, uncles, male teachers, sports coaches, and so on, Nick Fuentes is not motivated by a desire to make a positive impact on the lives of the boys who listen to him. A father is incentivized to raise his sons in a way that makes them resist their worst instincts. As an influencer who makes money getting views online, Fuentes is incentivized to do the exact opposite. Well, wait a minute. People keep telling me that Nick is the Catholic voice of the future. Well, then his number one advice, and it would be repeated over and over and over again, then, Magdalene, would be, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things in his justice will be added unto you. If that's his message, I haven't heard it. Have you?
No, I haven't. I've heard him do commentary on things like that. I've heard him mention it. But he hasn't led with sort of moral authority. And that's been the question here, is how is he the voice of young Catholic men primarily? He doesn't lead with compassion. He doesn't lead with vulnerability. He doesn't lead with trying to improve marriages. And that's been one of the biggest criticisms. Like, men will write in on his show. You can write in and he'll put it on the screen, your advice. So young men will write in a problem they're having and they're newly married, and he'll be like, well, just tell her to shut up. Or he'll say things like that. Like, there's no compassion, there's no mentorship. It's a very nasty thing.
And St. Unger, this is funny.
I can't believe I agree with this.
Okay, so those of you that love to hear me wax eloquent or ineloquent about the good old days of Sirius satellite radio, I'll tell you a quick story, Magdalene. In 2003, I went my first trip to New York City to the Sirius satellite radio studios. It was in December, and they had just started the channel that ultimately would become, they called it Sirius Right. There was Sirius Right, then they started the OutQ, the Homo channel, and then they started Sirius Left. This was all the brainchild of Jeremy Coleman, who was the vice president of programming at Sirius. I was brought in to lead the Sirius Right channel. Guess who was brought in to lead the Sirius Left channel?
I don't know. Is it Bannon?
St. Unger.
Oh, St. Unger.
St. Unger.
Oh.
In those days, he and his butt buddy were called the Young Turks. So it was, listen to, get yourself a satellite radio subscription and hear real uncensored political talk on the left. The Young Turks on the right, the Mike Church Show. This is a true story. I know Sink. I've gotten drunk with old Sink back in the day. So not me, nasty Sink, as you see him from time to time, but I know Sink for a long time. If you went and asked him, said, Sink, do you know Mike Church? He goes, of course I know Mike Church. He and I, for a couple of years, we did the Young Turks versus the KingDude, and we would do election day predictions, like 2010, 2008, 2010, 2012. We did 3 elections in a row. It was me versus Sink. And Sink he never was mean to me. He was never dismissive. He was always very cordial. And I was cordial. Well, we had inside jokes where we razzed each other, right? But, so at the end of the day, I know Sink Unger. This is what Sink says about all this. Pro-Israel forces are trying to force out Tucker Carlson from MAGA. They're also going after others, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey. And at Ben Shapiro attacked Tucker today. So, it's deciding time, MAGA. America first or Israel first? The establishment is demanding, you pick Israel. That's exactly what I said to you 20 minutes ago. Either you bend the knee to the Likud or you're out. And we're going to send Mark Levin and Little Ben to take you out and remove you permanently. And someone like Sink Unger. So I don't say that because Sink and I are intellectual pals today, but I think it's obvious what's happening.
Well, it is obvious what's happening, and I think that The frustration with Israel began because of Bibi, because there was a feeling that, and hostage families and friends said, Bibi was turning down hostage return deals in favor of keeping the war going. That was a recipe for disaster, and from that, American commentators began discussing problems along with Bibi's leadership. The issue, to me, isn't even necessarily senior Israeli leadership. It's that people have a problem with Bibi's leadership specifically.
Yeah, it will be. We'll watch it play out. And again, unfortunately, audience, you must understand. I am not saying I'm not here as the anti, and Magdalene can confirm this, and so can Magda. I am not here as the anti-Nick Fuentes task force. When Magdalene Rose asked me if I would do an interview with or for Nick Fuentes, Magdalene, what did I say?
Yes.
Yes. I said yes. What I said afterward was, as they asked us to schedule it, they went banning on us. They did that. I didn't do that. They did that. They stopped returning her emails and her messages. So I went on X and I asked the question, why is Captain America Nick Fuentes blocking the Little Old Crusade channel? I didn't instigate this. Again, they contacted Magdalene. They reached out to us, and I was only to, as I always am, to say, yeah, sure, I will sit down. I would love to talk with Nick. And I still would. Tomorrow morning, we can make it happen. You can't come on this show, or I won't go on yours, and I'll encourage you not to drop F-bombs. But tomorrow morning, it can happen. So you people, I am not leading the anti-Fuentes campaign here. I think that he's young and mature and that he's not acting very Catholic, if you ask me. But then again, maybe young Catholics want someone to sit there and give them the faith laced with F-bombs. I don't think that works in a sane Christian world, and that's my view, and I'm sticking to it. But if you think that it does, hey, man, I never told anyone, Maggie, have I? I never told anyone you can't listen to Mike Church and Nick Fuentes in the same day. Never said it. As a matter of fact, I don't say that you can't listen to anyone. It's your time and your ears. If you want to spend it listening to Shapiro, man, you go ahead and do that. It's fine. It's not what I'm going to do, but if that's what you do, then you do that. But please do not misunderstand. I am not jumping on that bandwagon. This is not me saying that we need to bring down Nick and Nick needs to be brought to an end. I have a fundamental disagreement, though. Do not call that Catholic radio. I'm not going to let you call it Catholic radio, okay? Or Catholic media or broadcast, because it isn't. I get private messages from people if I let slip a BS. Seriously. And I thank them for it. Thank you for the fraternal correction for calling me out. So don't misunderstand where I am in all this. So, and that's what I want to say. I think that's a pretty good explanation. What do you think?
I think it's a good explanation. You're not refusing to talk to anybody. It's more that we get offers and then pulled, and it's very frustrating on a booking level as well.
And by the way, did Fuentes, he went to Mar-a-Lago and bent the knee. I'm pretty sure that Kanye dragged him along.
Kanye brought 3 people.
Kanye brought Nick with him. That Trump did not invite Nick Fuentes, and that he was kind of Kanye's tag-along. So, and look, again, I think President Trump should hear from left-wing lunatics. He's going to look at them and he's going to call them left-wing lunatics. You know what? You're crazy. I said I'd sit down with you, but you're nuts, okay? I'm going to look you in the eye and say, I don't know what it's like to live behind those eyes, but those eyes are crazy, okay? You're just a bad person. He would tell them to their face, but it doesn't mean he wouldn't meet with them. So, in any event, great conversation, Magdalene. I look forward to tomorrow, and we'll have actual election results in our hands.
Yep, me too. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We will see you then. All right, everybody. Hey, guess what is coming up? Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Come on, Julie, I know you can hear me. Mike, what day is it? It's Mom's Murders and Mysteries Day. Woohoo! We have episode 14 debuting today. Over the river and down the hill To Bridge Guy's House We Go. This is the first one. This is episode 14, Moms, Murders, and Mysteries, looking into the Delphi murders. And this is a great case many of you haven't heard of. It is a tragic and gross miscarriage of justice. I believe, and we believe on Moms, Murders, and Mysteries, all three of us, an innocent man is serving consecutive life sentences for a crime he did not commit. Of two beautiful teenage girls whose killer is still on the loose or might be dead. We will unpack the entire story for you in 23 minutes right here on the Crusade channel. Who else? Now, people are like, we're going to provide you with good quality content that's good for all members of the family, and that the family can listen to, and it's good. Okay, Moms, Murders, and Mysteries. You're doing true crime shows? I think you'll love our true crime show. Maggie is your host. Her co-host is Mama High Hurdle, her mom. I'm the cat herder, moderator in chief. And this is it's a case. It's an exciting case. It's tragic. There are two little dead girls involved, so it's horrible. It's a tragedy. But the events surrounding the case, I think you will find intriguing and then outrageous at the same time. And we'll get it all kicked off in 22 minutes right here on the Crusade channel. So it's episode, can you believe? Moms, Murders, and Mysteries, up to 14 episodes. Watch or listen to all 13 previous. The Karen Reed case, the Doomsday Killer case, Lori Vallow Daybell. And of course, we did the Jeff Davis 8 case, the Bayou Black Dahlias, as I call it. And then we had the Annabelle Halloween case from last week. And today we start the Delphi murders. Yes, from Delphi, Indiana. All coming up on Moms, Murders, and Mysteries. Tell a friend or 65 all about it. Remember to go and get your 10th anniversary Crusade Channel t-shirts today. They're available at shop.mikechurch.com. Check your email, by the way. The Crusade Chronicles, episode 4 email newsletter is out last night and has some very interesting stuff in about the Crusade Channel and what's going on with the 10th anniversary and other things. So check your email on that. Shop in the Founders Trading Post or shop.mikechurch.com. I didn't see anyone pony up to the donation desk after I last mentioned it, did I? Did you? I didn't see anyone. I warned you people. I don't know why the poor little Crusade channel that does all this quality programming, there's no way you can tell me that the programming is not world-class and top-notch and delivered on a daily, by-hour, consistent basis, and we ask for a stinking $5 and can't get it. Moms, Murders, and Mysteries is coming up next, and then I'm going to leave you with this.
If you wanna, you can change your clothes if you wanna. If you change your